Answer me this question. Who is John Hope Bryant?
I'm God's child, man. My daddy was a businessman, and I'm an entrepreneur. My second great-grandmother was a slave. My grandmother owned a shotgun shack in East St. Louis, taking care of her children. My mother owned 7 homes. I owned 700. I was homeless when I was 18 years old for 6 months of my life. I saw 2 murders before I was 9. That's not somebody's story, it's my story. I sit here as a testimony that you can go from the bottom quartile to the top 0.1% in income and in wealth legally. Like, we've been making dumb sexy for way too long. We've dumbed down and celebrated it.
You growing up in Compton, but now headquarters is Atlanta. How did we get here?
When you read about something in the newspaper, it's already done. You want to go where the puck is going, not where the puck is. And I thought 15 years ago, the puck was coming to Atlanta.
Did you go to school?
Yeah, the School of Hard Knocks. My office, it's filled with books. Like you, I'm nosy as hell. I humor myself when black people say they don't like capitalists, because everybody in your neighborhood's a capitalist. Right. You a capitalist. A drug dealer is an illegal entrepreneur. It's illegal, it's unethical, but they are not dumb. It's not a sustainable business plan. You're selling death to your own community. I wanted to understand the systems, the plumbing. How does capitalism work? Because we're all in it. You have a high school education, attitude, and you're lazy, you're done. You're done, I don't care who you are.
What about DEI now? What's your stance on that?
I don't care about DEI. We better figure out in the next 5 or 10 years that we're better together. Black people need a business plan, an economic, non-emotional business plan. So I'm not afraid of the future. I'm excited about it because rainbows only follow storms, brother. I think that 60, 70% of African Americans have undocumented depression. So if I don't like me, I'm not gonna like you. If I don't respect me, I'm not gonna respect you. If I don't feel good about me, I'm not gonna feel good about you. If I don't have a purpose in my life, I'll make your life a living hell. Whatever goes around, comes around. Consider the source always. So when I understood rich, I was 40-ish. When I understood wealthy, I was about 50.
Wow.
Everything in society is about to be reimagined.
You! Come here real quick. Come in closer. Closer. Hey. Hit that subscribe button. Back to the show. Yo, what's good? What's poppin'? What it is, what it ain't, what it could be, what it should be, what it would be. Cam Newton, the son, Mr. Boogie, they all here with another episode of Funky Friday. And I promise, I really do promise, to give good content for the masses, but most of all, beautiful people, I promise to keep it funky for your asses. Now, this one right here is something that we all need, not as a human species, but as a culture, but not as a culture, but as an individual. Need to take heed to really these type of conversations. And the main reason why I started Funky Friday as a platform for real, transparent conversations that can push the person forward. And this particular guest is a husband, a father, a mentor, a thought leader, a CEO, best-selling author, global authority of financial literacy, and now I would coin him as a master of money. I present to some and introduce to others, John Hope Bryant. My man.
My honor, brother. You don't walk on water, brother, but you know where the stones are.
Hey.
You a bad brother.
Come on now.
No.
Man, let's get right on into it, man. I think we had a discussion off camera, and really what I want to come from this is I want you to educate my audience, right? But before you educate, answer me this question. Who is John Hope Bryant?
I'm God's child, man. I grew up in Compton, California in South Central LA, and my second great-grandmother was a slave on my mother's side. She owned her own home with no mortgage on it. She had a boarder, which means she had somebody that she rented to, another slave. She had a little side business, knitting, which my mother ultimately picked up through osmosis. She was a self-made woman. My second great-grandfather, George Young on my father's side, answered the call of Abraham Lincoln, the Emancipation Proclamation, and he was enslaved, and he went and left slavery and became one of the 7,000 officers in the Black Union troops, protecting people who weren't protecting him in Memphis, Tennessee. That was social justice. So my second great-grandfather was a slave, fighting for justice for those not fighting for him, but being a role model for others. My grandfather was a sharecropper, and my daddy was a businessman, and I'm an entrepreneur. My second great-grandmother was a slave. My grandmother owned a shotgun shack in East St. Louis, taking care of her children. My mother owned 7 homes. I own 700. I'm not a genius. I'm just role modeling, and I know my history. And I know that God don't make dirt. I know that God made all of us brilliant and amazing, and we can do anything we set our minds to. So I'm a living testimony that you can go from the bottom quartile of poverty, which is where I was in Compton. I was homeless when I was 18 years old for 6 months of my life. I saw 2 murders before I was 9, including my best friend and the guy who saved my life when I was 7. My mom and dad divorced over money when I was 4 or 5. Domestic abuse, my dad hitting my mother. That's not somebody's story, it's my story. And so I sit here as a testimony that you can go from the bottom quartile to the top 0.1% in income and in wealth legally. One thing that I like about you, man, is that you're making smart sexy. Like, we've been making dumb sexy for way too long. We've dumbed down and celebrated it. And it's time to make smart sexy again. It takes about 20 years to change a culture. That's a Quincy Jones quote. In the last 20 years, in my opinion, we have just dumbed down. Like, yo, man, what's up, yo. No, I don't know what's up. I don't even know what you're saying. And neither do you, right? Every word you use is intentional. Everything you do is intentional.
Right.
Your habits in the course of your day, what time you go to sleep, what time you wake up, how you present yourself, how you dress, how you flow. Everything has a purpose. That's why you're successful. And that's why I'm here, because you're an authentic dude. And I think that you're much more than people actually understand and appreciate.
Hold on, slow down now, slow down. But it's surface level though, Mr. John. Sometimes you gotta play the fool to the fool to make the fool think that they the fool. No, think that you the fool, but in reality, they the fool.
Oh, I'm with you.
So much of my life has always been about staying a step ahead, right? And one of the main things that I heard in just this stanza of you talking, I heard Compton, I heard St. Louis, I heard Memphis.
South Central.
You know, it's like all these different places is like you growing up in Compton, but now, you know, obviously headquarters is Atlanta.
In the moral capital of America.
How did we get here?
Yeah, Ambassador Andrew Young. The closest thing we got to Nelson Mandela in our lifetime. He's 92 years young. Just spoke to him last night. The last person who was a lieutenant to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on that balcony when Dr. King was assassinated April 4th, 1968. Like, there's greatness all around us, man. We just walking around like oblivious to it. Like we're living low frequency in a high frequency world. And so coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. That's another Andrew Young quote. I came here 15 years ago, trying to be low key, trying to be I was gonna just base myself here because you can get to 88% of American cities within 2.5 hours from the Atlanta airport. So I came here for 2 reasons. One, Ambassador Young was here and he was my mentor, and I'm nosy as hell. I just wanted to learn everything I could from that dude, because he's literally living history. He made Atlanta as the only international city in the South. He made Atlanta. He brought the Olympics here and all that stuff. He made Atlanta into a 10th largest economy in the US. I mean, this is $500 billion a year, run by black people, pretty much. It's not a city like this in the world. So I'm like, I got to know this dude. Like, he could talk to black people, white people, orange people, brown people, you know, South Central, South France. I mean, so that was number one. And number two, I had to get busy. Like, PhDs are good, and PhDs are even better. So I'm like, I got to go to the market. I got to go to business. I got to go to Wall Street. So Atlanta Airport was my bus station. That was my train station. That was 88% of American cities in 2.5 years, 2.5 hours. So that was the reason I got here. But you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan. God had a different plan. And so I've been anything but quiet, not my intention. I've been anything but under the radar. Atlanta's been very good to me. Actually, my biggest single business deal, I've created about 60 companies, but my single biggest business deal came out of Atlanta, which we'll talk about. It's the Promise Homes Company. I couldn't have done that in LA. So there's a reason to be in LA, there's a reason to be in New York, but the money, really the wealth has already been made in those places. Mm-hmm. When you read about wealth, when you read about something in the newspaper, it's already done. People want to go where the puck is going. You want to go where the puck is going, not where the puck is. And I thought 15 years ago, the puck was coming to Atlanta. I got a license plate on one of my cars that says entrepreneur. Just think about that for a minute, Cam. Mm-hmm. This is like you reading plays in the NFL. Yeah. Like before you get on the field, you knew how this guy was going to act, how that guy was going to act. You'd already mapped it out. Most players at your level, it's not just athletic ability, it's mindset. That's what makes you extraordinary. So when I got to Atlanta and I could go get my plate registered for my car as entrepreneur, I said, oh. This is the wild, wild west. Like, you can't get it. The entrepreneur plate in New York was taken 30 years ago. The entrepreneur plate in Los Angeles was taken 20 years ago. Why was that plate available? No one was thinking about entrepreneurship in Atlanta 15 years ago. It's all the vogue now. It's all the rage now. So,
but did you spell it entrepreneur, or you took the T out, put the R,
of course.
left the U out?
You got to abbreviate. Look, you get the point. You're getting way high frequency. You get the point that people were missing the point. Mm-hmm. No one was texting 15 years ago. I had a smartphone. Nobody would text. They'd call you. Yeah. I'm like, and this is a joke, but like there was no sidewalks. You'd buy $1 million property. I came from LA. There was no sidewalks. Like this to me, and so all that infrastructure is coming. Sidewalks are coming, infrastructure, internet, texting is like it's like breathing now. Yeah. So I just thought this was a pioneering place, and it was run by people of color. And I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to go from civil rights in the streets to civil rights in the board seats. Mm. So I called for a civil rights movement, and financial literacy is a civil rights issue of this generation. It is a civil rights issue and the civil rights issue of this generation, that and artificial intelligence. These two things black folks have got to get. You got to get your financial literacy right, because if your day's not about God or love, your day's about money. And you got to get your AI right, because AI is going to clean everybody's clock in 4 years. Mm.
There you have it. The silver to silver.
You got to say it real slowly.
It's a tongue twister.
Silver rights.
CIVILVS versus SILVER. That's what I'm going to put on my license plate next.
Well, I got that plate too, brother.
You do?
I do. I got silver rights too.
Damn, man! You talk about a person living a couple steps ahead. That's something.
I also just got the IP. Black Capitalists Matter. People talk about Black Lives Matter. I want to talk about Black Capitalists Matter. Mm. I actually got that IP.
Say less. Well, tell me this: did you go to school?
Yeah, the School of Hard Knocks. I mean, I've got several. 2 or 3 honorary doctorate degrees. Just got a wonderful award from Morehouse 2 nights ago with Pharrell and some others. Given several commencements. Nobody ever really asked me that question, but most everybody works for me as a college degree. I had a GED degree out of high school, which Chris Rock calls a good enough diploma. I was always focusing on business and entrepreneurship, and I started my first business when I was 10 years old. So I left high school, voluntarily took the test when I was in the 11th grade in LA, because I was I wanted to go out and run businesses. I thought that I was smarter than my teachers in the area that I was really focused on. And I went to community college for a couple years, San Diego Community College, and I have certificate degrees from Harvard and all that stuff. But traditional education was something that I decided to bypass for real education. That said, everybody watching this has got to get a college degree. Like you got to consume as much education as you can shove down your throat, because this is a knowledge economy, And once again, artificial intelligence is going to literally change everything.
So, just so, and let me preface this way. I owe a service to the people who's watching, but I also owe a service to myself because I'm extremely curious. You did not go to college to get a degree.
I went to college to get an education, which I did. And then once I had enough education, I left to go get life education.
Right.
I mean, if you look at my office, it's filled with books. I was reading a book this morning before I came here. I was reading a book last night. I was listening to an audiobook on the way here.
Yeah.
I'll be listening to an audiobook when I leave here. Like you, I'm nosy as hell.
Yeah.
I asked Quincy Jones once, how'd you get so smart? He said, I'm just nosy as hell. I want to know everything about everything. So for most of us, the problem is what we don't know that we don't know that's killing us, but we think we know.
Yeah.
It's what we don't know that we don't know, but we think we know. There's an old Southern saying, no matter how much I love you, my son or my daughter, if I don't have wisdom, all I can give you is my own ignorance. Mm. So out of love, we pass down bad habits from generation to generation. Out of love, because it's what we don't know that we don't know, but we think we know. For instance, I want to get this bag, I want to make this dollar, make this dollar, I want to get this cash, I want to get... Useless. But that's exactly what we obsess on. Yeah. I don't pay any attention to that whatsoever. I'm trying to build wealth, and you build wealth in your sleep. That's why they call it making a living. Making a living, not building a life. You can make a living at $2 an hour, or $10 an hour, or $20 an hour, or $10 million a year in your case. Yeah. But when the income stops, if your outflow exceeds your outflow, if your outflow exceeds your inflow, then your overhead will be your downfall. I don't care who you are. Billionaires can go broke. Yeah. So my mission was, my ultimate education was to understand this system. Yeah. So let me answer your real question. Like, how did I get on this? How did I get focused on this and I guess become good at it? Which I think is really your question of where did this come from? Yeah. So after seeing my mom and dad divorce when I was 4 or 5, we can go into that if you like. I have no problem talking about it. Mom left. We owned a gas station, 8-unit apartment building, which they bought for $18,000, worth $7 million a day. They lost it. They owned a gas station, owned their own home, lost it all. My mother could have taken my dad to the cleaners, California, community property state. She bounced, just with her kids. Went to go stay with her girlfriend, told me it was my auntie, so I'd be comfortable. And the guy who was taking care of us didn't want to admit that he couldn't afford to take care of us, so he went around the corner to sell marijuana part-time. Well, the real drug dealers around the corner didn't like that, followed him home, and hit him with a truck on his bicycle as he was coming home, right in front of me, and drug him till he was dead, in front of me. I was 6, 7 years old. He had saved my life. I was sitting on his porch and had fallen backwards and hit my head and was swallowing my throat. And this guy saved my life. He was my hero. He was the boyfriend of the lady who was my mother's friend who let us stay with us. So that was the second concept of money. The first one was a divorce. That was about money. Second one was this murder about the drug dealer. That was about murder, to protect their turf. Man, you don't own that block. The city owns a block. So it's a ridiculous conversation. Yeah. Murdered a brilliant black man for that. Then we leave there. My mama buys a house, our first house, 15502 South Fraley in Compton, California. It's interesting when you own a house, you remember the address.
Everywhere.
So she buys this house, and I make friends with this guy named George, who was an A student, but he had bad parents. And I wanted to be like George, Cam, but George wanted to be like Tweet, who was a little drug dealer who lived next to me. And he and George and Tweet got murdered together. They talked together, walked together, slang together, hung out together, and got murdered together. So that was 9 years old. That was about money. Yeah. And this white banker came in my classroom when I was 9 years old and taught me financial literacy.
Say that part one more time.
This is why you're so smart. You know which part to slow down.
Yeah.
This white banker from Bank of America.
Okay.
6'2", so you'd tower over him anyway. He was 6'2", had a beautiful suit on. The white man I knew and met with a suit on was a detective, and it wasn't a good suit, it was polyester. Yeah. So this brother walked in with an Italian stitched, Egyptian cotton white shirt, just beautiful. And I remember saying to this dude, he didn't want to be there, we didn't want him there, by the way. He came in once a week for 6 weeks. He was forced to come there because of the Community Reinvestment Act from the federal government. Anyway, first week, we ignored him, he ignored us. Second week, he comes in. He's like, you kids are not so bad. We're like, you're not so bad for a white dude. Building a relationship. Third week, he comes in. Fourth week, he comes in. I'm wearing a suit just like him. Everybody else is not paying attention. They're playing games and playing with paper planes back in the day. I'm focused because I've had this background experience.
Right.
This dude understands money. I said, how did you get, what do you do for a living? And how'd you get rich legally?
Rich legally?
I said to him, and I was dead serious. What do you do for a living? I grew up in Compton now, right? What do you do for a living? And how'd you get rich legally? Mm-hmm. He said, I'm a banker and I finance entrepreneurs. I said, sir, I've never heard the word entrepreneur in my entire life. I'm 9 years old. I've had a broad range of experiences. I'm pretty smart. Whatever the hell it is that you just said you're financing it, if it's legal, I'm gonna be one. And you're gonna finance me.
If there's one thing about me, I always show up looking my best, no matter the occasion. From meetings at Iconic Saga Studio to dropping my kids off at school, I love going about my day in a perfectly tailored suit that doesn't break the bank. Indochino lets you create your ideal look from start to finish. The process was simple. I pulled up to their showroom, picked out the fabric, and added my personal touch with custom linings and monograms. You know I'm all about the details. When the suit arrived, it fit perfect. Every time I wear it, I feel like the freshest guy in the room because I am the freshest guy in the room. Step up your wardrobe with those buttery European fabrics for an unbeatable price. For all your 2025 plans, look your best in Indochino. Visit Indochino.com and use code FUNKY to get 20% off any purchase over $499. That's 20% off at INDOCHINO.com. Promo code FUNKY.
So help me understand, how do you finance? Criteria. What's a criteria? Credit score, all this stuff. He started unpacking this over 6 weeks. I was hooked. And so I finally said to him, are there more than you? He said, what do you mean? I said, are there more bankers that lend more money to poor people? That's your job. Yes. He says, there's millions of bankers in America. I said, run that by me one more time. He says, there's 10,000 banks back then. Our job is to lend money. So it's your job to lend poor people money. And all I got to do is prove to you I can pay it back. And I don't get dead if I don't pay you back. And he laughed again. Because the drug dealer's around the corner.
Yeah, they fight for their life.
Yeah.
If they owe something. Yeah.
So that was it, man. That was my education. And I went home, I opened up the dictionary, internet search. I went to open the dictionary back in that day, looked at the word entrepreneur, French word, build something out of nothing, create value. Went to liquor store. I started seeing everything differently now in my neighborhood. The liquor store was a business, the muffler shop was a business, the nail salon was a business, the barber shop was a business, which always, by the way, I humor myself when black people say they don't like capitalists. Because everybody in your neighborhood's a capitalist.
Right.
You're a capitalist. A drug dealer is an illegal entrepreneur. It's illegal, it's unethical, but they are not dumb. They understand import, export, finance, marketing, wholesale, retail, customer service, security, territory, logistics. They are brilliant people with a bad business plan.
Right.
And
bad business model.
Bad business model. Man, I say a bad business plan too, because you don't retire. You're either dead, probation, or it's not a sustainable business plan. You're selling death to your own community. So I just think it's do it for a minute and get the hell out. And a gang leader is a frustrated union organizer, but you have brilliance. I wanted to understand the systems, the plumbing. How does capitalism work? Because we're all in it. Went to the liquor store, black guy on the liquor store, Max liquor store. You're selling the wrong kind of candy. Go away, little boy, I've got a college degree. Okay, I got cavities. I'm 9, I'm telling you. You're selling the wrong kind of candy, my friends don't even like it, and you're not on the way to school. You should be my partner. Cammy laughed at me and said, you got a lot of chutzpah, man. He said,
bro, you putting it together. You told the dude, I got a lot of cavities. We don't like this type of candy in here. We like Snickers, 9-laters, lemon heads, and you ain't got none of them in here.
Yeah, taffy.
Taffy, Laffy Taffy. Yeah.
So he dismissed me, but he did say, I'll offer you a job. Now this is an important part. He said, I want you to be a salesman for me at the candy counter in my liquor store. I said, no, I don't want to do that. This is why one of the reasons I respect you. You went from playing on the court to one to own the court. That's why you built this.
Yes, sir.
This guy wanted me to sell to my community. No. It's a product I don't even believe in. So I said to him again, I'll give you a chance. I'm 9 years old. I'm gonna give you another shot. I want to go into business together. He dismissed me. I said, look, make me a box boy. He said, it's the worst job I got. Yeah, that's the one I want. I went back in the cold box, opened the boxes for inventory, and for 3 weeks, I put inventory behind and pushed it up so that people can open up and grab their box. All I wanted to see was his inventory list. Where did he buy his stuff from?
How much?
How much did it cost? Profit, loss, wholesale rate, retail rate. And I went to Iris Food Store and Smart and Final, which is where he sourced it from, and I inspired them with my charisma as a 9-year-old kid. Then I was 10. And with a $40 loan from my mother, because she was a capitalist, she wouldn't just give it to me. She said, life is tough, pay me back. I made $300 a week on a $40 investment.
Can I call bullshit on something?
I put them out of business. Do whatever you want.
Listen, you said something a couple minutes ago, and you said you would advise everybody to go to college.
Yeah, if you're black, you can do whatever you like.
Because I don't think college is the root of education. I think you have to be curious enough to learn about education, and education is so much around us. It's at our fingertips. You know, my dad would tell me, don't be a dummy with a smartphone.
College, higher education, wherever you get it. You walked up to me in the Delta Lounge in New York City because I had done a piece. We didn't know each other. You could have kept it moving. You could have said, oh, that's the guy who did that piece. It was okay, but he didn't get it all right. He doesn't know my story. And you could have kept it moving like most people with low self-esteem. But you're nosy. You're always learning. Yeah. You want to understand how I ticked. You want to understand what I thought. You want to have a conversation about that whole situation and the backstory. You were very gracious. You were very kind. You were very respectful. And because you were comfortable with you, I was comfortable with you. And we built a relationship almost instantly.
Yes, sir.
That was college. Everything is college. Every day is, come on up here, this is college. Everybody working on here, they're in constant learning. If they're smart, they're constantly learning. One of your guys, I think his name is Troy, Amari is one of your guys who's like, his brand is like authenticity and gentle strength.
Peggy, everybody would know him as Peggy.
And I just trusted him instantly because he's just comfortable with himself, and he needs to protect that. Troy, I think, is another one of your guys who at an early age became obsessed with audio and just decided that was going to be his thing. And now he's an expert in sound, and no one can compete with that. You have your own brand. You've got your own signature of 8 billion people in the world. You've gone to the college of Cam Newton. I don't care where you get your education, but you better be obsessed with education or this world's about to zero you out. Let me flip this.
Come on with it.
So you and I met at the airport.
Yes, sir.
On the way to the airport, you saw McDonald's or one of the fast food restaurants. 5 years ago, 3 years ago, it was 12 people working in that McDonald's. Now, it's a pad.
Yeah.
And there's 3 people in the back. That's robotics, that's AI, that's automation. You go to CVS, you go to the grocery store. It's subtle. It's subtle. It used to be 12 people in the 12 grocery lines.
Lanes 8 is now open.
That's it. With Pookie going, what you want? I want my milk. Not your attitude. Right? No Pookie. She's gone.
Out of there.
Out of there. You have a high school education, attitude, and you're lazy, you're done. You're done. I don't care who you are. It's not about black or white or red or blue. It's about green. It's always been about green. Slavery was about money. Yeah. So everything's about, if you have a high school education and you were in customer service, read black people, unfortunately, over-indexed. All those jobs are about to disappear. All of it is about to be automated. The first AI restaurant, total AI restaurant just popped up in San Francisco. No people. People don't, AI don't complain, it doesn't argue, doesn't require a break.
They don't know how to.
Well, they train it not to.
They train it not to.
So I was doing research at midnight on you. At midnight last night on artificial intelligence. If I call my staff, people are like, hey, you can't call me at midnight. Like, I'm asleep, I'm with my girl, whatever. Like, AI never sleeps. So I'm just saying this world is changing, and you black people, you better be obsessed with education. You better be obsessed with the future, because it's not about love or hate anymore, like in Dr. King's day. They loved you or hated you and let you know exactly what. Today it's radical indifference. No one cares enough about you anymore to hate you. Private security, private roads, private families, private education, private transportation, private schools. We can go on and on and on. They've just separated themselves and said, yeah, y'all do as you like. You want to tear up your communities? You want to tear up your own lives? Knock yourselves out. This is happening while we're sitting here. So, you didn't call bullshit. You actually just confirmed it's real shit.
That's for real.
That the real shit is you are obsessed with the same thing I'm obsessed with, which is waking up tomorrow better than you went to bed last night. Right. You're constantly improving yourself. Right. Kaizen is a Japanese phrase, constantly improving.
So to that point, and I want to go rogue real quick, and you spoke about something. What about DEI now? When you see major companies, Fortune 500 companies taking hits and some taking gains because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And some would say like, yo, we going AI. I don't want to feel obligated to do certain things, but for the certain people who have been oppressed, suppressed, and forgotten, we need our jobs. We need equal rights. What's your stance on that?
I don't care about DE&I. I've said in op-eds in Time Magazine, Black Enterprise, and Fortune, you want to kill it, kill it. It's already been weaponized. It's been made political and emotional, and you know, it's dead. DE&I as a program is effectively dead. I don't care about DE&I. I love diversity, and I love math because it doesn't have an opinion, and God has a sense of humor.
Right.
So for the first time in history, this country cannot succeed without all of us. In 1950, America was 90% white, not 1850, Cam. 1950. Today, America's 40% black and brown. Within 10 years, there'll be a majority of minorities. The biggest economy in the world, the US. First of all, you never had a superpower that wasn't the economic power at the same time. In the history of the world, Rome, France, Germany, you never had a superpower that wasn't economic. So we're the superpower, we're the economic power. And 70% of the US economy, about $29 trillion, is consumer spending. That's you and me, going to restaurants, going to lunch, playing video games, buying our phones. That's consumer spending. Or the plane tickets that we bought. That's us. The future of this economy, you cannot, my rich friends eat my poor friends to do better if only to stay rich. Even the racist wins when black people succeed going forward because GDP rises. We're having the wrong argument. In fact, we're arguing. There's no need to argue. There's not enough college-educated, successful white men to drive GDP, gross domestic product, for the next 20 years. So unless my white friends want to be speaking Mandarin in 20 years, meaning Chinese, or taken over by Russia, which is not likely, but unless you want to be speaking another language, we better figure out in the next 5 or 10 years that we're better together. So this is what's happening now is fear. This is a third Reconstruction. First Reconstruction was after Lincoln and Frederick Douglass created freedom, and the Freedmen's Bank, by the way. And then what was that? Lincoln assassinated. Then here comes the pushback to Reconstruction within 2 years. Mm-hmm. 40 Acres and a Mule was reversed. People don't know that. Here comes Dr. King. Kennedy, Johnson, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He gets assassinated in 68. Within 2 years, here comes Nixon, conservative Republican. Obama, George Floyd's murder. Here comes a pushback. It's fear. But this time is different because what I just said, all the diverse companies are the most profitable, Cam.
Right.
All the diverse regions are the most profitable. This ultimately is a country that's a capitalist democracy. This is about money. So as soon as everybody calms down and gets over their emotions, they're going to realize they actually need us to succeed. That's our moment. What we need is a black Jewish business plan. Black people need a business plan, an economic, non-emotional business plan, not dissimilar from what Jews created for themselves as a group of people who have been hunted all around the world and disrespected. But nobody messes with them now. There's only 15 million Jews in the world of 8 billion. They have their own country. They followed the money, the economics. We've mastered sports. We've mastered culture. We've mastered music. We've mastered entertainment. If black people say something's cool, it's cool in
Cool as fuck.
it's cool in Saigon. It's cool in Taipei. It's
sure.
cool in Australia. If we say it's corny there too. Look at you. You're a walking testimony to cool. What do we became capitalists? At scale. So I don't obsess about the DEI thing. I think that, and AI has come, look, 99%, this is a Van Jones quote, 99% of black people don't know a thing about AI, artificial intelligence. But 99% of white people don't know a thing about AI. This is the first time where the discrimination is equal. Like this is gonna wipe out 75 million jobs for everybody. I talked about the customer service jobs, but if you're an accountant, done. AI will wipe you out unless you reimagine that. If you're an attorney, all those documents, all that details, artificial intelligence will make that. If you're doing home mortgages, I used to have to sign 700 stacks of documents, man, to buy a house. That's all gonna be automated. So it's not just us. This AI is not picking on us.
Right.
It's picking on everybody.
Correct.
But here's the good news, and this is why Sam Altman and I are the co-chair of the AI Ethics Council. And I'm also co-chair of the Financial Literacy for All with the CEO of Walmart, Doug McMillon, who is a good guy. And that's a whole nother conversation maybe we'll get into what's going on really with these companies and why they're pushing back on what we call DE&I and where they're still committed to diversity and inclusion. But Sam Altman and I co-chaired the AI Ethics Council, and I've got a project here in Atlanta called the AI LP3 to pipeline black people and brown people and anybody else who wants progress from kindergarten all the way through college. Don't wait for AI jobs to destroy yours. Master the new AI and ride that horse like it's yours. Master AI, don't be run over by AI. So let these kids create the new product. This is so everything in society is about to be reimagined. Everything. AI in sports, AI in healthcare, AI in finance, AI in real estate, AI in airline travel, whatever it is, whatever you're passionate about, AI and audio, it's going to be reimagined from the bottom up. Let's go own it. Let's go do that. When you're being run out of town, get in front of the crowd and make like a parade. Don't be afraid of it, master it. So I'm not afraid of the future. I'm excited about it because rainbows only follow storms, brother. You cannot have a rainbow without a storm first. And you're a storm chaser and a rainbow maker. I mean, you look like a rainbow, actually, right now, with all these colors.
That's it, like that. I don't even want to stop it, you know what I'm saying?
No,
the only thing that I'm saying right now is like, shit, well, I don't got my notes open, so I could doggone, but I'm going to rewatch this and in that type of capacity. But, one of the things that is glaring to you is about you is your stuff. Well, I'm interested to know, outside of, you had the individual who got, murdered in front of you, the banker who came to your school, but who was it first that came into your life at what age that you identified that, oh, this person has money?
I'm gonna answer that in a different way than I'll answer your question the way you want me to. So there's a difference between being broke and being poor. Mm-hmm. Being broke is economic, but being poor is a disabling frame of mind, a depressed condition of our spirit, and we must vow never, ever, ever to be poor again. The reason I vibed on you, man, was you're not poor, brother. You have a spirit of wealth. You have a spirit of authenticity. I didn't meet you, I felt you. I felt your energy, I felt your authenticity. And when people meet somebody, it's a vibe, it's an energy. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So wealth is not monetary. Wealth is a mindset. And my mother, Juanita Smith, God rest her soul, passed away 2 Septembers ago, 89 years old. She worked a job for 32 years at $15 to $18 an hour. McDonnell Douglas Aircraft, and died a millionaire. Had a will, had an insurance policy, Worked an hourly job, bought and sold 7 homes, and died with $1 million net worth, and made me the trustee of her estate. Her estate when she died. It had a credit score of 854, which means she wasn't black, she was green. My mother once told me, in addition to telling me she loved me every day of my life, and somebody told you for sure you were loved, without question. Your president I met, somebody told her mom and dad, that she was loved, because I met her and you could tell instantly. So in addition to telling me she loved me every day of my life, she was also funny and didn't take any mess. I said, Mom, you gonna get married again? She said, I don't know, baby. If I get married, he's gonna be a BMW. I said, Mom, that's vain. Why would you do something for a car? She said, no, baby. A black man working.
Oh my God.
My mother was gangster, man.
Boy, that was a gut puncher right there, boy.
So what I would say today, the way I would upgrade that software, anybody watching this, you want to be like Cam, you want to be like me. Understand that 3,000 years before marriage was spiritual and God endowed it with spirituality, marriage was a business. It was a business contract. When you go to the club tonight, hey man, she's fine. Oh, he's so handsome. Oof. What's your name? What's your credit score? I'm joking, but I'm serious.
Off the dribble?
Off the dribble. Because when the breasts drop and the rear end drops and the looks go away, that's your business partner for life. So unless you're just trying to have some fun for a moment, whoever you pick will either raise you. So
take your time. We ain't got nothing but time. I like where you're at. Speak on it.
In a relationship is the only time where the math shouldn't work. It should be.
In a relationship is the only time what?
The math should not work.
Math, M-A-T-H.
I like math because it doesn't have an opinion.
Say less.
So if you're not better together, what are you doing? So 2 + 2 should not equal 4. 2 + 2 should equal 6, 8, or 10. It's multiplication, not addition. If who you're with does not make you better, bye, Felicia. Let the doorknob hit you where the dog should have bit you. Bye. You ain't got to go, but you got to get the hell out of here. If you hang around 9 broke people, you're going to be the 10th. So you have got to watch your environment. And the closest thing to you is your partner, your mate. So a giver is exotic. That's you and me. A giver and a taker is neurotic. And a taker is psychotic. Most relationships.
That came from that. And that boy came back with the, I ain't even need that old boy. Man, hey. Chugga. Rewind. One more time, Mr. John.
A giver is exotic.
That's it for mating purposes, just so.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on now.
That's what I'm saying. When you meet somebody and you're serious about them, if they're not serious about their credit score, they're not serious about their life. We live in a credit capitalist environment. If they're not serious about the decisions they're making, I don't care how cute you are. You be cute and dumb. Bye. That will fall away. There are no ugly billionaires. There are no ugly centimillionaires. You become successful, that stuff will come to you anyway. Don't stop tripping about it. You want to set yourself up for success. Again, everything you do in your life has to be intentional. So my mother intentionally said to me in Compton and South Central, I love you. You're God's child. You're amazing. There's nothing you can't do. You know I love you, right? Every day, man. You know how powerful it is for a kid to hear from his mother? I love you? Whew. I believed it. So I have many problems. Self-esteem's not one of them. It's okay if you don't like me. I like me. I'm not as good as my compliments. I'm not as bad as my criticisms. I am who I am. You like me, great. You don't like me, still great. It's okay if you don't like me, I like me, as I said earlier. Not 1 ounce of my self-esteem resolves or responds or depends on your acceptance of me. There is a definition of life, and you've got to become it. So that was my first wealth. That was the seeds I was planting in. That's why I don't like people talking about baby daddies and baby mamas. What does that do to the self-esteem of the kid? That's my baby daddy. That's my baby mama. That's my baby. That's your mother or your father. That's what I love about you, man. Another reason. You take care of your family.
Yes, sir.
You claim them. So my mother said, that's my kid. That's my child. When she showed up at my school, I was in trouble, and she would show up there a lot. When she got laid off from McDonnell Douglas Aircraft, she didn't go on welfare. She wouldn't ask my principal what jobs are available at this school. The only job was a janitorial service. My mother, trained as a seamstress, all that stuff, became a janitor because she wanted to, and then she was a security guard after that because she wanted to be around me. She wanted to make sure I wasn't tearing my ASS. I didn't like it. I didn't like my mother being at the school. She said, I don't care what you like. I'm not your best friend, I'm your mother. Here's another lesson for life. I'd rather you respect me and learn to like me than like me and never respect me. These are all fundamental principles that came from that first investor in my life, my mother. So the first real wealth I found in the way that our audience will appreciate was a guy named Harvey Baskin. He'd be a billionaire today. He's worth about $100 million then. And this is in one of my books. I don't remember which one. I think it was Up From Nothing, or the memo. And I worked for him okay. I wanted to figure out how money worked. I told you that story. So I was in Compton. I'd catch the bus, RTD. We called it Rough, Tough, and Dirty. And I'd catch the bus to Santa Monica to work at a restaurant called Gladstone's for fish.
Right.
And I quit after a couple weeks because I was waiting on doctors and attorneys and bankers. These were the agents for wealth. I wanted to get next to wealth. So I quit Gladstone's for fish and went up the coast by bus to Joffrey's restaurant, which is still there to this day, which had all the, what we call billionaires today, ballers who were having dinner there. I wasn't a very good waiter, so they gave me I was a busboy than a waiter, but they gave me the Monday night shift, which is basically for losers.
No.
And if I was in NFL terms, I wouldn't even be third string. I'd be the training camp, I'd be the tackling dummy. I was really bad as a waiter. I didn't care. I wanted to get next to the owner. The owner's a guy named Harvey Baskin. And I impressed him, and he hired me as an assistant to work with him at his house. And I ear hustled, man. I was just nosy all the time. What was he doing? How was he doing it? And one day I asked him, could I take him to dinner? We went to dinner. I had to drive. It was like driving Miss Daisy because he had broken legs. So he was sitting in the back in my Audi. I had a car. He paid me $21,000 a year. Anyway, but the real education was the knowledge. So anyway, we go to this restaurant. The bill comes, and now this is 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago. Bill comes, and it's $100. I only had $120. I'm like, I push the bill to Harvey. Harvey pushes the bill back to me.
The electric slide.
I pushed the bill back to Harvey. He pushed the bill back to me. He said, hey, slow down, man. Now think about somebody in your life who did this to you. Because I know somebody really mentored you. He said, look, stop this. You gotta decide what you want, man. Do you wanna pick my brain or pick my pocket? One lasts longer. It's your choice. What he was saying was, I've been plying him for a whole hour and a half for knowledge. Right. Really 3 hours with the drive. He knows what I was doing.
Yeah.
That knowledge was worth.
But that's the transaction, though, and a lot of that goes over people's mind. Meaning, a lot of people look at compensation as a tangible thing, right?
Right.
Compensation can be in many different ways. It could be through financial gain. It could be through educational gain. It could be also just
relationships.
Relationships.
Relationship capital.
It's multiple different things, right?
You know Magic Johnson.
Yes, sir.
And Magic would use his prominence and his fame to go meet with whoever was on the front row in the games and ask them to go to lunch. The business people.
Yeah.
What is he today? A businessman. Anybody in sports and entertainment who's a billionaire got there because they transferred from rocking the stage or rocking the mic or whatever to owning the stage. They transferred it into business, which is what, by the way, I see you doing, using that brand to transfer over. And that's what I was trying to do in my own way, was trying to go from cashing a check to writing it. So this guy, I paid that $100, gave my last $20 to the waiter, $20 tip.
Oh my goodness.
I was broke.
What was that, the pursuit to happiness in real life?
Serious, real life. It was a real life example that I was dead broke. I had enough gas to get back to his house. But I had passed the test with Harvey. And now Harvey put his arm around me everywhere we went. This is my guy. This is John Hope Bryant, he's with me. So I started meeting people, and they were like, okay, well, and then that led to me getting an office in Beverly Hills. A lady named Kip Morrison, who's still alive today, and I rented an office for her for $500 a month. I was homeless at that point. I only had $500 a month coming in, and so I had to either rent an apartment or rent an office. So I rented an office, and I slept in my Jeep. But it was in Beverly Hills. It was the right location, the right address, and it put me in the flow of, once again, wealth. And after 6 months, I worked my way out of living in a Jeep. And everybody laughed at me. My credit score back then was 300 or 400. I didn't care. I walked through life consciously oblivious of most things around me because it just doesn't matter. You have created your own style, brother. You've had to have done the same thing. Because if you try to be like everybody else, you'd be like everybody else. Yeah. But now, clearly, this is like, you could create your own, this is probably coming, your own clothing line, your own hat line, your own eyeglass line, your own brand, your own hair care products. I mean, your whole vibe is a walking testimony to brand building, but you had to walk your own path. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
How did I know that about you? We haven't talked about it. It's obvious.
I see a situation here where, I mean, you said something where a giver and a giver is exotic.
Oh, you like that part.
I love that. I just want for me, a giver and a exotic.
A giver and a taker is neurotic.
Neurotic.
And a taker and a taker is psychotic. And everybody needs to take a moment and look next to you.
Who are you?
Everybody watching this.
What the fuck are you?
You're about to mess up a whole bunch of relationships.
It's already messed up.
I told your president on the way in here, who's brilliant, by the way, I told her that she's an eagle surrounded by buzzards and turkeys. In her life, not here. And don't expect everybody to understand you. Eagles don't fly in packs. You've never seen a flock of eagles. Buzzards love packs. Buzzards are low-altitude birds. Mm-hmm. In fact, buzzards are insecure, so buzzards are always shooting at eagles. They have high confidence and low self-esteem. But I respect a buzzard because at least a buzzard's legit. The buzzards come at you straight. They just player-hating, never player-congratulating. Always got something negative to say about somebody. You can identify it as long as you know who you are. You can see a buzzard coming. Yeah. But a turkey's the worst kind of bird because a turkey's got wings and can't fly.
Or don't fly.
No, they can't fly. They profiling. Trying to be something they are not. That's too many people in our neighborhoods and our communities trying to be something you are not.
Jive turkey, that hit different now.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about jive turkey, but yeah, that was
old.
That's old school. That's back in the day. Yeah, exactly. So I just try to keep things really simple. Yeah. I think there's a lot of noise out here. You can get all wrapped up in the noise. My world, my inner world is very quiet. Yeah. I walk through life consciously oblivious of most things around me. You said you meditate. Yeah. You got habits. You keep structure in your life. Man, I'm a very private person living a very public life. So I can be the quietest person in a crowded room. I'm just not trying to have a conversation about how's the weather and who did. You know, wealthy people talk about their ideas. Poor people talk about other people. It's the basic stuff, but you can identify it. As soon as I say it.
Yeah, you already know.
Like people are like, yeah.
What the last conversations that you had with the individuals that you were with, like, and this is like a transition, thing. But when you talk to people around you, like, what are we really talking about? Right?
I'd like to say bullshit on here, but I probably can't.
Yeah, you can.
Can't. There's a lot of bullshit. With too many of our people, our assets are on our ass. Mm. And because we have low self-esteem, so because of slavery, because of Jim Crow, because of our experience in this country, African Americans, right, by no fault of our own, too many of us have low self-esteem. I think that 60-70% of African Americans, not African Caribbeans, not African Africans, African Americans, have undocumented depression. And it's obvious about how we flow. It's obvious about how we act. Mm. And if I don't like me, I'm not gonna like you. If I don't feel good about me, I'm not gonna feel good about you. There's somebody player hating you right now, player hating me right now. Oh, look at what he's got on. Look at this. Look, what is he saying? Why wouldn't you just be positive? Why? There's nothing negative about anything we're saying. So people need to check themselves. Don't check me. I have a problem. You got the problem. So if I don't like me, I'm not going to like you. If I don't respect me, I'm not going to respect you. If I don't feel good about me, I'm not going to feel good about you. If I don't have a purpose in my life, I'll make your life a living hell. Whatever goes around comes around. Consider the source always, always. So because of our experience in this country, it was illegal for us to learn. Illegal for us to read a book. They separated us from our families. You're big like you, comes in from Africa. They hold you down and abuse your wife until you stop fighting. Translation, you can't protect her. They take your children and sell them into different areas. I'm not trying to make anybody upset. This is the facts. This is just the facts. I'm trying to get you to understand what happened and how you ended up where you are. I have 5 pillars of success. As much education as you can shove down your throat. Financial literacy, because we live in a capitalist democracy. Everything's about money. Your day's not about God or love, your day's about money. Yeah. Nothing changes your life than moving your credit score 120 points other than God or love. Family structure and resiliency. Self-esteem and confidence. Self-esteem and confidence. We talked about that. Those two different role models in the environment. What did they destroy? Illegal to educate yourself. The Freedmen's Bank was destroyed in 1865. That was created by Lincoln to teach free slaves about money, run by Frederick Douglass. So that was financial literacy, 1865. So no one ever taught us how capitalism works. I've just told you they took your family and splintered it into a million different directions and gave you nothing to fight for, and you couldn't protect your own wife. So now they just have a robot walking around who's built strong. What do they want? The vibe was, we're all dumb. Oh, really? I'm at number 3, by the way, but I'll come back to number 2. We're all dumb, really? So wait a minute, let me explain this properly. You're living in the agricultural age in the 1600s and 1500s. Agriculture is gold. Crops are cotton and tobacco, et cetera. You're gonna go halfway around the world to get black Africans, to bring them halfway around the world at great expense to the Caribbean and the southern states, and by the way, to Mexico. Because we're dumb? No, you don't get away with that. You don't get away with that. You brought us because we are geniuses of the land. Because Africa is hot. That soil had to be revitalized on the regular in intense heat. We are geniuses of that. So you brought us here because the southern soil is hot, humidity, impossible conditions. It's dead soil, but that's exactly the soil you need to build these crops. So you had to bring our talents, but not our self-esteem. You had to bring our gifts, but not our gab. You had to bring our geniuses, but you didn't want all that energy. You could not have us have hope. The most dangerous person in the world is a person with no hope. So you succeeded. You brought us here. You ripped out everything we believed in. By the way, black people and white people got along when they first got here because they were England sent, they're ruthless, boy. They sent poor whites here as indentured servants. So you had whites and blacks in Jamestown, Virginia, and they got along. And when they ran away together, Cam, this is a true story now. People invested. They ran away together as friends because they didn't like how they were being treated. The overseer said, boss, we got a problem. They're getting along. We can have a race riot. We cannot have a class riot because we're the class. So they gave the white indentured servant, when they called him, 2 more years of indentured servitude. Okay, the blacks' life, that was the beginning of slavery. And then took the poor whites and put them in charge of the blacks and created friction. These were friends. And said, if you work hard enough, you can own one of them. They were friends. The word white, I've never said this on anybody's show. I'm about to drop a mic. We obsess about white and black and all this racism. The world's 5 billion years old. Organism life, 4 billion years old. Neanderthal life, 200 million years old. Modern life, 150,000 years old. The life of Jesus, we know, 3,000 years, where we're conscious all this. The word white was created in the 1600s in North America, here. Didn't exist. The racial word white is made up. It's made up. It was made up for the exact reason I just told you. That's what everybody's obsessed with. By the way, black is a collection of all colors, which is a whole nother situation. Where did everybody come from? Africa. Everybody came from Africa. So what did Malcolm X say? We've been bamboozled, we've been tricked, we've been fooled, we've been hoodwinked. What'd you add?
Led amok.
Led amok. So I'm not hating on anybody. I love everybody. I hate ignorance. I discriminate against stupid and dumb people when I'm working on it. I just think that we got to get out of our own way. So I said, as much education you shove down your throat, you guys thought I lost my way. I said financial literacy. I said family structure and resiliency. I said self-esteem and confidence, two different things. So the self-esteem was beaten out of African Americans. Right. We have the confidence, which is why we are competent, which is why we kill it in sports, kill it in entertainment, all that stuff, but we can't work together because we have low self-esteem, crabs in the barrel, all that stuff. And then the last one is role models and environment. So if all you see in your neighborhood as symbols of success are rap stars and athletes and drug dealers, and we can't not get another Cam, we cannot get another Reggie Jackson. I mean, that's why you're so iconic, because we can name you. It's not scalable. And you shouldn't want to be a drug dealer, and you can't be T.I. I know T.I.'s my boy. I just was Killer Mike. There's only one of them. I was with, but the economy is everything else. The economy is healthcare, real estate, finance. That's where all the money and the wealth is. But we're not training ourselves in those areas. We have no role models in those areas. And so that's why I'm so optimistic, because all you gotta do is reverse 3 or 4 of those 5 things. Mm-hmm. And when I look at you, that's what I see. That's why when you did that interview and I did my outtake on that, I wasn't hitting you up. I actually said, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you said and how you said it. People didn't understand it.
Right.
But I got it. It's like the Matrix. It's red pill, blue pill. I got it. And I thought you were extraordinarily wise. Maybe we'll get in that in a minute. But I think we've got to reverse engineer what I just said. Right. If you come from the Caribbean, slavery didn't last that long. You saw black doctors, you saw black lawyers, you saw black governors, you saw black criminals. I mean, everybody was black, and you had a mother and a father. You didn't come here with a self-esteem problem.
Yeah.
You were in Africa. You saw same thing. You didn't come here with a self-esteem problem. Just the opposite, Cam. You didn't have a market economy in Africa. You didn't have a market economy in the Caribbean. So you had low confidence, but you had high self-esteem. We have high confidence because it's the biggest economy in the world and low self-esteem. We need high confidence and high self-esteem. And then we need financial literacy, and we need to understand the future, AI. And once we get a business plan for ourselves, no one can stop you. That's my vision for the civil rights movement and the third Reconstruction. I think we're sitting in a moment in history right now. But history does not feel historic when you're sitting in it. It just feels like another day. Right. But Dr. King could never have done it without celebrities, without athletes, without opinion makers. He had to make it cool. You're making it cool. This is making it cool. We gotta make this conversation common in the black and brown community. We gotta deal with our shame, stop the blame, deal with our anger, deal with our insecurities, heal from our pain, right. Heal. And then I believe the future's bright.
So answer this question for me, Mr. John.
I'll stop talking so much.
No, you ain't listening.
You never want to be the old guy in the club.
This ain't no club.
Before y'all kick me out, I'm gonna leave.
This Funky Friday, this ain't no club. You dig what I'm saying? What is your definition of wealth?
Mindset.
That's it.
All poverty except sustenance poverty, roof over your head, reasonable health care, food on the table. All other forms of poverty, those things shouldn't even be an issue. That's humanity. All other forms of poverty are mindset. Mm-hmm. So let's get funky now.
Talk to me nice.
Let's get And I'm gonna talk to you nice, but your audience is not gonna like it.
Come on with it.
Somebody is listening to this and go, this John Bryant, he talking and stuff. Look, just give me the money. I'm not gonna tell you what net worth is, but I ain't hurting. Just give me his money. Okay, I'm gonna give you my money, I'm gonna give you Cam's money. I'm gonna give you everybody that Cam and I know. Stephen A. Smith, Charlemagne, everybody. We're gonna give you all our money. In fact, I'm gonna give you all the wealth in the world. You got it. Here's what's gonna happen. If we don't change anything else, we're gonna have it back in 3 years. 70% of all those who win the lottery, Cam.
Back, bro.
Bankrupt in 5 years.
No way.
70%. I hate to tell you, but 70% of all NFL players and 70% of all NBA players bankrupt in 5 years of retirement. That's why, one of the many reasons why you're a role model in how you're flowing, what you're building, how you're perceiving, how you're getting. You're constantly building because you understand it's the sports business. Mm-hmm. It's the business of sports, and so it's the entertainment business. These other folks thought that the money was going to last forever. That's what I was saying with that clip I did about you.
We're gonna talk about it.
So money ain't everything. In fact, money's nothing. Money is just, Omari, I can take your shirt, turn it backwards, and write on the back of your shirt, pay to the order of Omari, $20,000. I can write the account number and a routing number, and I can sign it. And technically, you could take your shirt to the bank, and they would have to cash it. A check is just, they just literally created like a check. But all I'm doing is transferring value. Money is a transfer of value. But what do we obsess about? Money. It's nothing. That's why most most cryptocurrencies, there were 20,000 cryptocurrencies created. I believe it's 18,000 of them went bust. Who are the biggest investors? Black people, because we're trying to get rich quick. We're so frustrated. We're trying to find a way. And because we're financially literate, we're complete targets. I have no problem with cryptocurrency. Just don't use your rent money. But if you really want to be smart, go to the exchange system, the technology, under blockchain technology, under the currency. That's the real deal. So there's a game that's being played, and we got to understand it. It's not about money. Money's irrelevant. It's about wealth. And wealth, let's be practical. What's the number one way you build wealth in America? Home ownership. 75% of my white counterparts own a home. That ain't by accident. The entire tax system is designed to encourage home ownership. You write off the mortgage payment. You write off the depreciation. You'll be able to depreciate this building, by the way. This is the tax write-off. You get the appreciation. You get all the value creation. But only 44% of black people own a home. I curse people out about this. Like, what are you doing? You've written some with money you don't have and places that don't want you to impress people you don't know about shit that don't matter. Stop it, knock it off. That's low self-esteem. Go buy in the hood, D-A-HOD, a hood adjacent, buy the worst house in the best block. A hood in France is called Paris. A hood in the UK is called London. A hood in Turkey is called Istanbul. This is like inner city, centrally located real estate. And we're giving it away. Every hood in America is a gold mine. Between where we are and the airport is the next gold mine. Buy it and do not sell it. But I'll be on a show and people if it was a call-in show, somebody would call in. Yo, man, I don't like what John Bryant's saying. We don't own the home, the bank owns a home. If you don't pay, and by the way, if I gave you the loan, just to make it real clear, and you don't pay me, I'm gonna own the home, your home. Business is not personal. Capitalism is a gladiator sport. We got to get out of this emotion stuff. We got to get to the base. We don't own enough stocks. We don't own enough bonds. We don't own enough homes. Most of our businesses are sole proprietorship. This is royalty right here. You have I don't know, a dozen people here. This is royalty, and you own the building. That's the first question I asked when I walked in, by the way. That's sexy. Now, you're like a...
Can I stop you right there?
I'm telling you what your business is.
No.
Go ahead.
I own everything I got.
Break it down.
No.
By the way, you see how quiet he was? We see when you got the power, you don't need to use it.
No.
He didn't scream it.
Yeah.
He didn't holler it. He didn't flash it. The quietest thing he's been, the whole interview. I own everything. Ooh, that's so sexy.
No. I'm telling you.
You know, I don't have my wallet here, but if at this moment, I'd pull out my Amex Black card.
Hey, somebody go get this wallet, please.
No.
Somebody go get it.
But that...
A centritarian, that's what they call him.
Hey, man, look, I can buy... I don't need to argue with you. I can just buy it and buy whatever you're sitting under.
Man, listen, I think that's the thing about growing. I just left an event yesterday, and somebody wanted to argue with me.
Well,
I said, "Brett, let me make perfect sense to you." And I had to look him through his soul. I said, "My man, I don't want to argue with you. What I'm telling you is the gospel. Because if this is my event, if this is my event that you came to, I'm going to run it how I want to run it."
That's right.
And I'm not going to argue about it.
That's right.
So I would say what I said again. It's like, yo, everything that I have, every car, every house, every home, every business, I own.
And to argue with a fool proves there are two.
Bruh.
So, yeah, all money is freedom.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So money as a mechanism is freedom, but you get money through wealth. And 96% of black businesses don't have an employee. 96%. We've got this 1 million black business initiative at Operation Hope. So I've directed $4.5 billion of capital through Operation Hope, one of my entities, into underserved neighborhoods. I have millions of clients. We're financial coaching people, getting their credit score up, their debt down, their savings up. And I'll give you some free books for people you want to give people who support your show. I'll sign some books for Financial Literacy for All, my last book, if you like. But I think this financial literacy thing is like everything, and I've directed this capital to try to get people to become homeowners and small business owners, and to show you the hunger of our people. I called for 1 million black businesses after George Floyd's murder, and this is not DE&I. This ain't nothing to do with. This is a great example of what my philosophy is. It's not a DE&I program. It got nothing to do with DE&I. This is about creating more customers for Shopify.
Yeah.
This ain't DEI, it's more customers for Shopify. Shopify put up so we created 450,000 businesses, by the way. Created, nurtured, supported. There's only 3.1 million black businesses, give or take, in the country. So, I don't know, 12% of all black businesses since George Floyd's murder. But I didn't go to Shopify and their founder, who's one of the wealthiest men in Canada, Toby Lutke, good guy. I didn't go to him with charity, a handout, begging, do something right for black people. He said to me after George Floyd's murder, "Man, this is just wrong. Like, what can I do to help?" I also didn't say, hook me up or hook my cousin Pookie up, right? I was like, let me think about this for a minute. So I sent him a letter and I said, help me create 1 million black businesses, Cam.
Right.
And I heard nothing. So after about a week, I wrote him a note and I said, man, look, Toby, thanks for asking, brother. Really appreciate you for caring. I recognize you didn't respond, so you're not interested. I'll see you around. We'll do something else down the road. Talk without being offensive, listen without being defensive, always leave even your adversary with their dignity. Because if you don't, they'll spend the rest of their life working to make you miserable. It becomes personal. He wasn't my adversary. He didn't give me the response I wanted. How am I gonna respond to that? I decided to respond by being gracious. Don't worry, Toby. I thank you for asking. I'm good. Because I responded that way, he responded and said, John, what are you talking about? I said yes. I said yes a week ago. I went to my spam folder. It was an email in there, 2 lines. We're committing $130 million over 10 years. Imagine if I had cursed him out. Imagine if I went crazy. I knew you didn't care. I knew you. Calm, just like you, calm. The program did so well last December 2024, after the presidential election. Shopify put up another $60 million. So now it's $190 million. So my team asked them like 2 weeks ago, are you good with everything going on in America? They're like, this ain't got nothing to do with DE&I.
Right.
Why are we doing this? Please listen now. We want more customers. Hello? I don't know what their current customer, let's assume it's 3%. That 3% of their customers are black. Well, they wanted 10% that were black.
Yeah.
That's my case to everybody. You want more customers, you want better employees, you want more market share. That's what we should be saying, not you owe me or do this because black people. Whenever you make an emotional decision, it's the wrong one. Unfortunately, DE&I was designed emotionally. And so it was never going to be sustainable. It was clunky, it's expensive, it's complicated. Somebody else is going to say they have an unfair advantage.
But then this is the thing to that, not to cut you off.
No, please do cut me off because I run my mouth.
Even to that point of DEI, there were loopholes in it that allowed people who weren't in quote, minorities to find loopholes.
Brother, we're fifth on the list.
Come on.
Why were you even arguing about this? To your point, does anybody look at data? I love data. Black people are 5th or 6th on the recipient list of DE&I. White women are first.
Hello.
I mean, you 1, 2, 3, 4. We're 5th or 6th. What are we arguing about? Why are we arguing? Why did we get branded with DE&I? Like, knock it off. Stop it. Just stop it. We're hitting our face on somebody else's fist. I refuse to get punked. Refuse. Look, Dr. King's last book was Where Do We Go From Here? His last movement was about raising all poor people, including poor white people. Does the audience know that there's more poor white people in America than poor anybody else? Like, that's another fact that nobody seems to know. The transfer payments, people say that we're the welfare. The biggest welfare, the biggest subsidy, are to white farmers. Like, let's just start having honest conversations about how this system works. I want my poor white friends who are rioting at the ballot box right now, by the way. They're angry because they were, are we getting too deep?
No, you're not. I like, in the famous words of a good friend of mine, I like where you at right now.
Look, poor whites, this is why I laugh at people who just say it's all about racism. You do know poor whites are white. So if everything was about race, I'm not saying, racism's real.
Yes, sir.
Okay? But if everything was about race, wouldn't all rich people be white and all poor people be black? Clearly the largest population of toe up in this country economically are my white brothers and sisters who had a business plan that walked away from them in 1970s called the Industrial Revolution. With a high school education, sound familiar with what I said earlier? You could get a truck, you get your Ford truck, get your house, have a boat, a vacation with a high school education. Then China and everybody else started doing stuff cheaper. All that got exported, and nobody gave them a business plan.
Right.
And Cam, they're pissed off. They don't know who to be pissed off to, and they were quiet for like 50 years. Mm-hmm. And then somebody came around and became their spokesman for their anger, not their solutions. And now they're angry at us because it's easy to be angry at somebody else. So they went rioted at the ballot box. Black people riot in the streets when we're angry, I get that. But neither one of those rioting will solve anything. That's why I'm saying this country's not black or white. It's not red or blue.
Well, green.
It's green. And the way you solve this, I'm sorry to be simplistic, but create some more green for everybody. Everybody. Because AI is not just gonna kick our ass. It's gonna kick my poor white friends' ass who have a high school education. The number one group dying in America are high school educated white men dying from opioid addiction. That's depression. That's depression. That's lost hope. It's lost aspiration. Like, we're all in this mess together, but we're spending so much time fighting with each other and throwing rocks at each other that nobody is courageous enough to actually have a solution. And to me, I just see it so clearly, and I'm not interested in speaking Mandarin, Chinese in 20 years. I want As messed up as this country is, I've been to 100 countries, Cam. You've traveled all around the world. As messed up as this country is, it's the best deal on the planet. I don't want to destroy it, I want to make it better. And I don't know another place where I can go from Compton in South Central to talking to you as the 0.01%. Couldn't have happened in Germany, couldn't have happened in France. Help me out here. Couldn't have happened in China, couldn't have happened in Korea. I mean, go around the world. I meet you sitting here as free, economically independent black men able to talk and say whatever we like.
For sure.
You talk mess in China, see what happens, you disappear. Talk mess in Russia, you disappear. Talk mess in North Korea, Iran, and 24 other countries, you disappear. And you have no economic opportunity. So capitalism and democracy are horrible systems, except for every other system.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, I want socialism. Even if you want to distribute money like a socialist, you have to first collect it like a capitalist. I mean, I could do this all day and all night. This is not complicated.
Yeah.
People just don't know what they're talking about. Oh, I want to go live in the Nordic countries where socialism is. They've got timber, they got oil, I can go on. That's capitalism. They just have a huge tax policy. So yeah, there's no poor people, but you don't see any black people at the top either. So yeah, you don't fall through the cracks, but you don't end up at the top. America, we can reformat this and reframe it. Be the change we want to see in the world. This is a new reconstruction period. Everything's about to change. Everything is changing.
We're a part of a revolutionary as we speak.
That part.
I think one of the things that I want to ask this, full transparency.
But white folks listening to this, you don't need to be concerned or scared. We want you to succeed too.
Yeah. The question is, at what age did you start to understand money?
Great question. Probably when I saw my mom and dad fighting when I was 4.
There's no way, John.
I knew it was about money.
So it's like,
you know, if you give a kid, you give a kid a bank account in kindergarten with $100 in it, they're 75% more likely to graduate from college. Kindergarten.
But understanding the value of money and understanding money is two different things.
Oh yeah, no, okay. So I wasn't financially literate.
Yeah, so for you, like, I mean, if I give my 8-year-old...
I'm still learning, brother.
For sure. If I give my 8-year-old son or 9-year-old, 19-year-old son, $100.
Give him some stock.
Knowing what I know now, I'm not going to spend that money the same way. I'm going to use that money as leverage to get what my ultimate goal is. At what age for you did that switch and you say, hey, hold on. You mean to tell me I don't even have to use my actual cash that's in the bank? I can leverage that to get more money for a bigger goal.
I was probably 40.
Okay.
And so when I understood rich, I was 40-ish. When I understood wealthy, I was about 50.
Wow.
I just turned 59. So I'm just constantly learning. I mean, my friends now are, I have a lot of billionaire friends.
Yes, sir.
And I listen to them all the time. And I watch them. They're just built differently. They're wired differently. Mm-hmm. One of my billionaire friends was like, I brought him a business proposal from another friend of mine. And he's like, I was telling him why it was such a great deal for him. And he cursed me out. We were friends, so it was a loving cursing out. He's like, John, I don't want to make any more money. I don't want to make any more money. It's a pain in the ass. Right? I got to pay income tax on it.
Oh my God!
This is so deep. Now.
I'm sorry for cutting you off, but
no,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. No.
No, you got to pay what?
He said I got to pay income tax on it at the highest rate. He said I'd rather have capital gains. This is such a deep conversation. Like, and I didn't really realize this until I sold a company. When I sold a company, and my tax bill could have been $8 million. But because my tax people knew how to structure it as capital gains, my tax bill was actually $3 or $4 million. And then I made a charitable contribution where they would get it down a little further. I'm like, oh, click. So most of the people say, okay, the wealthy people don't pay taxes. Technically true. They don't pay income tax. Please pay attention. So when you go to work, you get W-2 income.
Yes, sir.
You're an employee.
A contractor.
Right. No. Well, the 1099.
Well, 1099. I'm sorry.
So,
W-2 is
yeah, you're an entrepreneur, so you know 1099.
Yes, sir.
But if you're a traditional employer, your employees are taking it. The people watching this, most of them are W-2 employees.
Mm-hmm.
W-2. Are you lighting a cigarette because I'm boring you? Or are you just cool?
I'm lighting a cigar because you have my undivided attention.
Okay, all right, cool. So, money can be boring. I try to make it interesting, but to me, I'm just fascinated with this. So if you're doing a W-2, you may end up paying 38, 35, 38, 40, 42% of your income in taxes, depending on how you deal with it. But if you are smart and you don't take an income and you take a risk as an entrepreneur and you build a company and then you sell it, or you build some real estate and then you sell it. You build this company and you don't take a salary and then you sell it in 5 years. The windfall of that is called a capital gain. You pay 20% taxes, not 40. So the 70% of all of the taxes in this country are wealthy, paying taxes in capital gains and other forms. They don't pay income tax. So that's technically true that when Warren Buffett says my secretary pays more income tax than I do, it's technically true because she is a W-2 employee. I hope that made some sense.
No, I'm gonna make it make sense because this is what people. I asked that question because for me,
I hate income tax. I hate W-2. I'm in love with capital gains taxes now. But go ahead.
I asked that question because here I am. I'm 35 years old, and I can honestly say I did not start to understand money until I was 32.
Well, you're ahead of me because it was when I really started to say, as I told you, I was about 40. And I've been at this, I'm supposedly the whatever. I created financial literacy policy for the federal government working as an advisor to 3 U.S. presidents, Republican and Democrat. Yeah. But I just, the light didn't completely come on until 19 years ago. So you're ahead of your time.
So to that point, for me, that income tax, right, now, as we shift this talk,
and everybody should pay their taxes, by the way.
No, it's not.
I'd rather owe I don't know, my mama's, murdering cousin than to owe the IRS. Al Capone didn't get caught for murder and mayhem.
He got
caught for tax evasion.
Yeah.
Like, pay your taxes, because that's where the police get paid, that's where your teachers get paid, that's where the schools get paid, all your infrastructure, your lights, the roads, that's all, the city of Atlanta, Mayor Andre Dickens can't do anything without
tax-paying dollars. But I say that to say,
which allows us to make more money, by the way.
For me understanding real business and how money works, right? Educating myself, well, first off, being curious to understand, like, hold on, you mean to tell me I literally made the money that I made, and I'm seeing different taxes come in, different taxes come out, and I'm saying,
hold on a minute, I'm upset. I'm a little offended. Every time I watch your show, it's liquor's flowing, and it's got your cognac, you got your this, you got that. I don't drink, and I said I love water, and I got nothing. My self-esteem is affected.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that, Mr. John, because for the people that are watching this, they should not take offense, or you should not take offense, because before you sat down, I clearly asked you, did you want anything?
You did. He did.
So
good.
You said no.
I'm
fine. I have water.
I have my own water,
which is in close proximity.
I just want in a pretty glass.
Well, you never said that. You got to be extremely direct.
No, with you had to be extremely specific.
No. You used the word and you said you got to be intentional.
Intentional, exactly.
So there you go.
There you go. My man pays attention.
Like, come on now.
Which is why he's Cam Newton.
Like, I'm just here. I look some dumb, I ain't plumb dumb. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was born at night, not last night.
Not last night.
Right.
But to that point of garnering a lot of capital that we do not know, you said it's best that you pay tax. It's not best for nothing. You're going to have to pay taxes regardless.
Right. Don't pay it more than you should, but pay what you owe.
The education of you understanding how taxes and how money works will now allow you to find, it's a shady way of saying it, but finding the loopholes of trying to pay.
It's not shady. You want to find a great tax professional.
Yes, sir.
And make sure that your tax pro and your attorney are not going to the club and partying with you. You want somebody boring, right? You want somebody who's an expert in that area who ain't trying to be part of your hanging crew. But find somebody who's really good. I use Aprio as a firm here in Atlanta for my accountancy. They're absolutely excellent. They know they keep track of all the changes in the tax code. And I have a bookkeeper, I have an accountant, I have a chief financial officer, I have a controller, and I have a chief accountant, and I have an auditor. These are all part of my financial deal, and I'm the financial literacy pro. But I assume I don't know because I don't keep track of everything in that level. I'm not interested in keeping track in that level of details, but they do, and I want them to make sure I'm paying what I owe, but no more. So if there is a loophole, if there's some tax advantage, I want every piece of it.
Right.
So it's just finding the balance. Like most things in life are balanced. Drugs that are prescribed are good for you. Alcohol in moderation, wine will lower your blood pressure. Like things in moderation are good, but just don't want to overdo it. And you definitely don't want to get on the wrong side of the IRS. IRS really is your business partner, actually. Yeah. You know,
you can bring it in.
We got the rule of law here in the United States of America that's better than any country in the world. That's why we're a flight to quality for capital anywhere in the world. And when I had to pay this is the brilliant lady I was saying is the president. Now see that she don't mind. This is the president of this whole situation.
El Presidente. Now that's it. Now that's the first. That right there is.
The boss lady came and poured some water. No self-esteem problem.
Let me tell you something. Shit, since we keep it, that's a motherfucking first right there. You feel me? So for Kristen Myers, extreme brilliant person who's provided a lot of value, not only in this business but for me personally, to come, do that is
respect.
But
it's mutual, by the way.
To that point, it's.
But this point about taxes is really important. So, again, without getting too much into my business, I got hit with this one tax bill, and I owed the state of Georgia about $1 million, as I call. By the way, this was the lowest of my tax. I had to pay the state and I had to pay the federal.
Yeah.
It was between $800,000 and $1 million.
Those are two completely separate taxes, ladies and gentlemen. State tax, federal tax, two different tax. When you are in the NFL or in any type of professional, just real quick, you have to pay state taxes for every single state that you play in.
Every time you play a game.
So we get paid every week, but what we think it's not getting taken out, that's federal tax. But when they come back and ask for the state tax of San Francisco, hey, the state tax of Los Angeles, you probably had to play the LA Chargers, you had to play the San Francisco 49ers, you had to play the Detroit Lions. All those cities and states are coming for their state taxes.
100%. And I hope you just paid attention to what he just said. And by the way, the NFL is unique amongst professional sports franchises because you get paid for only the games that you play. So his value of his contract, unless he negotiated it or whoever, is the bonus plus how many games you play. Now, Cam probably negotiated a really special deal for himself, but a lot of these players, they think that because you sign a $10 million deal, they can go spend $10 million. Man. You get hurt in the middle of the season.
They're not obligated to. Or if you get hurt doing something that's not associated with your sport, I don't know if you, I'll give you a quick history about that in specifics.
Well, hold on, Cam. Because I want to hear this whole story about this. This is where you're going to teach me.
Go ahead.
But I just want to finish this story about when I paid this $800,000 to $1 million.
Go ahead.
I was driving down my street, and I live in the country, and I ran over some potholes. Guess what I did? I instantly wrote a letter. Mayors, the governor, the city council, fix these potholes. Because now it's like, I just paid you guys $800,000. No, this is exactly what this is supposed to be for. So now I'm taking this personal. When you start owning a property, everything becomes personal. When you start paying taxes, you start noticing your schools and your roads and your gutters and all that, the lights and the police. Police work for you. So anyway, by the way, they fixed the potholes. Yeah. But I took that personal. I wrote the letter. I wasn't talking about somebody else. I was talking about me.
Yeah.
And when you become Nobody washes rental cars. You dry that mug and you get dirty and you take it back to the owner because you don't own it. When you own something, it changes the endorphins in your brain. So you own your brand back to the NFL.
So to that, you get paid for things that you do, right? Even though you're a W-2, right?
Yes. People don't know that either. NFL players are W-2 employees,
right?
Not independent contractors.
For sure. Now, with that, there was a situation that happened in the league. Marcus Mariota, right? Marcus Mariota was drafted, I believe, number 2 overall. Jameis was drafted number 1 overall. And there was the negotiation was rather long because what I understood it to be was Marcus Mariota is from Hawaii. And if anybody knows Hawaii, you know that there's the activity that's prominent there is surfing. That is not a football activity. So if Marcus Mariota were to get hurt surfing, then therefore he would not be obligated to be paid by that team.
Right.
So same for instance, I'll give you another example. T-Sizzle, right? Terrell Suggs, a person who tore his Achilles while at the football facility, but it was in question of how he tore it. The question was he was playing basketball in the facility of the Baltimore Ravens. If he would have been found guilty that he was playing basketball, the Baltimore Ravens would not have been responsible for paying him because we pay you for what you do for us.
Right.
Now, some we pay a lot of money. To all, you pay a lot of money regardless.
Right.
But if I'm an organization in this business, this has nothing to do with emotions. I love you to death, and I appreciate everything you've done for this beautiful franchise. But if you tore your Achilles and we can't get the money that we promised you, we gave you $10 million, $12 million, $20 million. And all of a sudden, we've gave you 13 of that 20 million, and all of a sudden you got to sit out a whole nother year because you're unable to play. Oh, no. Hello?
Bye. It's worse in music because in music, so there's clawbacks. So in music, they'll give you that advance. You then get a music video. You do your album. You then want to go party. You then want to go travel in the world. You want to buy your mama a house, all that stuff. That's from your advance.
Right.
When your music starts creating revenue, there's a 70-30 or an 80-20 and sometimes a 95-5 split where they get
95 to pay
your 5 for until they recoup the advance, and then you start making money. So in that situation, they're being reimbursed for an advance. At least in your situation, the money's yours when it comes, but nothing else is promised after that if you get hurt.
But can I say this? And please keep your point. I just want to give digestible slogans that people will understand. In our world of content, right, the ultimate goal is, to generate capital, and ways to generate capital is by licensing your content or whatever. Well, if you sign to a major studio network, the Amazons, the Netflix, this platform, the Amazon, whatever, they will have something in there that they will describe as a minimum guarantee.
Okay.
Which is in essence the same thing. No matter what commodity it is, it's still the same thing, right?
Okay.
So even for agents, right? So an agent will give an athlete an advance. What they don't know.
Really?
Listen, a marketing agent will give an athlete an advance. Hey, yo, you're coming out for the draft. This is way before the NILs or certain things.
Right.
What an agent would do is say, John Hope, you're going first round, baby. Hey, I'm gonna give you $250,000.
Right.
What? Now you see that same person 2 months ago that didn't have a AP, that didn't have a bust down or a Cuban link around his neck.
Right.
Now all of a sudden he goes to the league or is going to the league, and now all of a sudden when he comes back, he got this Cuban link on with the big bedazzle.
Right.
And he had got an advance from his agent. Now that agent will recoup that money before you can make money. So you sign with Gatorade. I got to make mine back first as the agent. And then when we make our money, then it becomes whatever the percentage.
So it's the same situation?
It's the same situation.
So, by the way, those jewelers for which everybody goes to the same jewelers, the profit margin is 90%.
Yes.
So you think you're flossing. You actually just got played. Because if you got to go actually sell that same jewelry, it's going to be pennies on the dollar. So there's good debt and there's bad debt, right? Good debt is tied to something that appreciates. Home, businesses, we talk about that. Bad debt is tied to something that depreciates. People are financing jewelry. That is a really bad investment. Financing clothes, anything that depreciates. We have got to understand. So it's a whole machine.
Yeah. Cars,
they got people to refer you to for the cars,
boats,
for the
jets.
jewelry, for the boats, and they're gonna charge you 18% interest, 20. You don't even know what you're signing. This is what drives me nuts. And I'm not gonna mention this guy's name because he just said something really racist recently that and just disgusted me. But you know what I'm talking about. It's an artist. But he's going off about, and I've never said this before, but I'm saying it straight into the camera. He's going off about my Jewish brothers and sisters, about how they ripping them off in the music business. No, brother, you need to read your contract. This ain't the Ku Klux Klan forcing you to do nothing. It's not my fault if some people are good at designing a contract and you're bad at reading it. That's what a lawyer is for. So many of my artist friends are like, oh, I don't want to deal with that business. I want to be on the creative side. It's the music business. It's the business of music. A great negotiation is where everybody leaves the negotiating table slightly annoyed. Because nobody got everything they wanted. But if one person's paying attention to the details and the other person is paying attention to the music, you're gonna get played. By the way, so if there's a table sitting here, forget Jewish, black, me. Because by the way, Motown did this. There's a bunch of folks who did the same thing. I'm sitting here, you're an artist. My job is to get the most from you while paying the least.
Yes.
Your job is to get the most out of me while giving up the least.
Right.
If I'm a better negotiator than you, or if I'm paying attention to the business, and you're paying attention, I don't know, to the girl walking down the hall, or you're just in la-la land, I'm gonna clean your clock. Don't come back then later on.
It's already signed.
And now you're upset with me because I negotiated a great deal. That's my job.
Yes.
So I don't know where all this thing, I don't know where people gotten off on this thing about blaming somebody for being excellent at what they do. It's like somebody blaming you for
scoring a touchdown. Yeah,
or in your case, countless.
Yeah.
Well, don't hate on him. Praise him. He's good at what he does. You got people, you got folks going through inner cities right now, white people, buying our homes. People are like, oh, that's gentrification. That's not gentrification. Gentrification is, the dictionary definition, is a movement to middle-class values. You want that. In order for that you just don't like that the white people are buying out homes that black people lived in. But in order for them to buy it, you gotta sell it. Did I miss something? Or it was a tax default because we didn't pay our property taxes. Like, racism and discrimination in the 20th century, in the 19th century, it was oppressive. It was unbelievably, it was no way you can get around it.
Right.
We live in the internet generation. We live in the AI generation. We live in the knowledge era. If you really master this game of capitalism, like you've mastered sports, and like Troy, the other people have mastered audio and this other thing, we will kill it in this area too. But let's stop blaming people for moving on things that we are ignoring.
Let me ask you this way. Who's at fault?
I really think we need a black Jewish business plan, actually, but go ahead.
You said that.
Yeah, I say it again. I'm gonna say it 4 times.
Who's at fault? The person who's taking advantage or the person who allows somebody to take advantage? Think about it now.
This is a great question. It's the perpetrator's fault, but it's my responsibility.
They're doing their job.
They're doing their job. They're a pimp. They're a punk.
Man, you said it earlier. You said, man, business is a gladiator sport.
It's not personal.
I don't take fault or I don't take it personal that you tried it. It's your job to try it.
It's your job to try
I'm more at fault because I've allowed you to do it.
100%.
You see what I'm saying? So to your point of talking about the music industry, me talking about sports and agent contracts, it's their job to do that. It's your job to protect yourself, to know like, whoa. And I use this term because it's always it can be in contracts, perpetuity. Hey,
in perpetuity.
What does perpetuity? Man, that word came up,
That's
and I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm just nosy.
Yeah.
Damn, they call me Pinocchio.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at perpetuity. What
Search
the hell?
it.
Perpetuity is
Forever.
the end of time and beyond.
Forever.
So if you see that, those things
In perpetuity.
In perpetuity.
Yeah. Don't get upset later, right? Don't get mad. Brother, again, another artist here in Atlanta, he went and got a loan from SunTrust, used to be called SunTrust, now Truist, a mansion, had a Rolls Royce, and then things didn't go so well for him later years. And so SunTrust, now Truist, they wanted their car back. They wasn't paying the note on the Rolls Royce. He calls it racism. No, it's capitalism. If you don't pay, I'm going to repossess. I mean, what's complicated about this? People cursing people out about coming to get their repossessed car. You didn't pay for it, right? And you shouldn't have a $1,000 payment a month anyway. If your car is more expensive than the apartment you're living in, or the house, if that's the most valuable thing you have, you got a values problem anyway. Like, we just have to change our entire mindset from beginning to end. Unpack it and repack it with excellence in mind.
I'm gonna change the commodity for you for a better understanding, right?
By the way, 500 credit score. Everybody listen to this. In our hood we grew up in, you see a check casher next to a payday loan lender, next to a rent-to-own store, next to a title lender, car title, next to a liquor store, next to a pawn shop. Why aren't anybody complaining about all those people and that's punking you? That's punking you in broad daylight because they're not doing that 15 minutes away in a 700 credit score neighborhood. Yes. It's not personal. They are pimping you and punking you because you're financially illiterate with low self-esteem, you're depression, you want immediate gratification, and they know you're not paying attention. That only happens in poor neighborhoods. Whether you're black and brown, urban or white, rural, that's exactly what you see. And everybody watching this can recognize what I just said, and it's all across this country. Right. So stop hating on that, change that. Get your credit score up 120 points, and you won't tolerate that mess anymore. You can't give me a bad loan. I'm not gonna take it. I've got the best rates in town. I'm selling a house right now, $1 million house right now. I got a 3% mortgage on it. I'm upset because I can't transfer the 3% mortgage. But it's capitalism, and you can't punk me with my eyes wide open, right? But we don't understand this system, so this system continues. By the way, you lived at 61 years of age in that 500 credit score neighborhood. You lived at 81 years of age, 15 minutes away in a 700 credit score neighborhood, all across this country. 20-year difference because you live in a 500 credit score neighborhood. Now think about that for a minute. Social Security is 65. So you've been bamboozled, you've been tricked, you've been fooled, you've been hoodwinked.
You've been led amok.
You about to change the analogy.
No, I just change the commodity of, it happens all around us, and you may not necessarily know it or give the understanding for it because you say repossessed, right? The people want their money, right? Okay, let's change the commodity through this lens. You got Netflix, don't you? You got Amazon, don't you? You got Hulu, Vudu, all the do's and oohs and wahs for entertainment. Yeah. If that card that's on file does not pay for that monthly subscription, what's gonna happen, Mr. John?
Well, I mean, look, this common sense. I mean, it's
You're not going to have access to it.
You're not going to have access.
So no different. What the commodity is, you see it in
your whole life is capitalism. Like from the time you get up, the government didn't give you any sheets. The government didn't give you a pillow. You bought it. The government's not paying for your utilities. Your government's not paying for your gas in your car. The government's not paying for the phone that you're watching this on or the device you're watching this on. You bought it yourself. Right. Capitalism is everywhere, but we don't understand it. But we want to talk mess about it. Well, the capitalists love you talking mess because you're going to get exhausted after talking mess, and then you're going to go sleep on their bed that they finance, that you put in the stock. The company, the sleep on the bed for the stock that they own or the company that they own. We are just rearranging the deck chairs in the Titanic. Like the ship is sinking and we're picking drapes. Like we just have to knock it off. What I love about this interview, and I really enjoyed this conversation. We've probably gone too long, but there's not a thing that we've said that's not common sense.
That's facts.
Like this is just a radical movement of common sense. But black folks, we've been doing so much with so little for so long. We can almost do anything with nothing. We're born on probation in America. Things are tough every Tuesday. Like we understand tough. What happens if we take tough and makes it talent? What happens if we go from surviving mindset to thriving and winning mindset? Just start doing different things with your time. You're doing every moment of your day is organized.
Yes, trying to at least.
I mean, people need to try because you can mess with my money, you can't mess with my time. You mess with my money one time, I'll give you that. I told you money is just a means of exchange, but you're not gonna punk my time. Only person that abuses my time is me. I invested my time to come here. I'm older when I leave. Was it a good investment? That's my question I ask myself. As you said last night, you arguing with this guy, or he was arguing with you. You were smart enough to go, I'm good, right? And then, by the way, if it gets out of hand and they pull out a gun, they don't lose. There's only one Cam Newton in the world. You argue with somebody about something that doesn't matter. They don't even value their life. And all of a sudden it escalates, and now it's a situation.
Right.
Just walk away. Whatever, please, listen to me. Whatever it is, it ain't worth it. There's 8 billion people in the world. Just go talk to somebody else. It doesn't matter what anybody's saying. They got their opinion. Whatever. Walk away. Have enough self-esteem to say, this important conversation is not important. You're welcome to your opinion.
Yes, sir.
Bye. Leave their underperforming self where you found them.
Low vibrational.
Low vibrational.
That's it.
You hang around 9 broke people, you'll be the 10.
I want to talk about 2 different things before we get out of here. One of those is Special Forces, the viral clip that you spoke about. And I just want to ask, what did you interpret with that clip? And what should be known from that?
It was like the movie The Matrix. I mean, when I explained it, I thought it was common sense for me, but the response that people were having was, like most people who watch the movie The Matrix, they think it's an action-adventure flick. Mm-hmm. No, it's a story of Jesus Christ, right? I mean, it's the story of the Bible, right? And so now I want you to go watch The Matrix again and watch it through that different lens. So it's a red pill or the blue pill. When I heard you, I heard a smart brother. What he said was, I'm not telling you business, I'm making this up.
No, just be fully transparent.
You make, for years you made 10 million, 15 million, 20 million a year. Your expenses were, I'm making this up, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million a year. And you let people live their best life, including your children, including the loved one that brought the child in the world. And all
Baby
that.
mother.
Baby mother, okay. You said it, I didn't. But then when the NFL contract ends, I don't care how much wealth you've created, the income goes to zero overnight.
Right.
You went from 10 or 20 million a year to zero, but the expenses continue at 3, 4, 5 million. And what I heard you say was, after I retired, I realized I cannot keep doing the things that I did before. It's irresponsible because it's not sustainable over the length of their lives. We have got to reset this to a level that is still fantastic. They're going to have everything they need, But some of the flossing has to stop. And maybe you need to go buy some stocks and bonds and not just go buy a car and some candy. Yeah. So I just thought about it was just a different change of priorities. Yeah. And I love that you were transparent about it and you had this coming to Jesus moment and you were like, before my accountant calls and tells me I'm broke in 5 years because I'm trying to make everybody happy, let me hit the brakes right now and reset everything and this is my interpretation now, let me go from making money to building wealth. Right. Which is the building we're in now and the businesses that you're building, which hopefully your children will inherit as part of their inheritance. You and I were talking about Shaq. And what Shaq said, Shaq's kids were like, Daddy, why should we work? We rich. Shaq, no, we ain't rich. I'm rich. Yes, sir. You need to go get a job and a skill.
I think the thing with the clip that...
Did I get that right, by the way?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
And I think... Well, I know for that, I took offense of what came from that. What people didn't know was this, all right? In anything that's on TV, it goes through a stringent and very precise editing process. Yeah. You shared a statistic that is extremely true. Post any professional sport, right? 70% of former athletes either file for bankruptcy, divorce.
Right. Well, divorce is right after it, by the way.
Right. And it just heavily impacts you in a negative way.
Right.
When I did that, the whole show, by the way, they had these interrogations, or they will call it the mirror meetings, where certain people will talk and ask you certain questions about your life. What people didn't necessarily know is we spoke at length for at least 45 minutes, just so they can really find out more about you.
Sure.
Understanding the storyline, understanding really how can we sell this to the masses, that statistic is not just a John Hope statistic that he just said. People know that.
Right.
After talking at length about my life, this 45-second soundbite was something that they said, oh, no, that fits the status quo of who he is. Now, what I didn't like, not from you.
They used it for clicks.
For clicks.
They used it for clicks.
What I didn't like
and by the way, Roland Martin, to give him credit, Roland Martin texted me this clip, and he said, John, this is a great financial literacy moment.
For sure.
I think that Cam's been misinterpreted here, and maybe you can right sides. So I try to deal on my piece. I actually said, I'm proud of you.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is the thing that our culture, or us as a people, Black, is understanding this. We have to normalize vulnerability.
That's right. That's right. That was my first book, Love Leadership.
You feel me? So like when
vulnerability is power.
When I'm in this moment of knowing like, yo, things have to change about me, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially.
That's right.
And one of those things is while I was doing that show, I realized like, yo, I have an anger issue. An anger issue meaning that...
I would never want you angry at me, brother. I'm in good shape, but I would never want you angry at me. I called you Superman when you walked in the green room.
But understand why. Why is because that anger was always channeled to football. So now you have an anger issue. It's not an anger issue, it's an anger gift that you are able to exhort that into football.
Right.
Now, you take football away, where does that gift now turn into? Yeah. You're just angry.
Right.
Or you're easily triggered.
Right.
I realize that about myself. So I'm like, yo, I gotta fix that. That's not healthy.
Please, everybody, pay attention to this. Man, the most important part of this entire interview just happened because he's becoming reasonably comfortable in his own skin. That's my gift. That is my number one gift, is I'm reasonably comfortable in my own skin. You've gotta acknowledge that you're not perfect, that you gotta heal from your crap. You gotta deal with your stuff. And I think that's the most courageous thing. What you just said right there shows how strong you really are.
Yes, sir.
That's a real man. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength.
Yes, sir. But
most people are not vulnerable enough to be strong. That's a real strength. And by the way, you just want a lot of ladies just fell in love with you.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that. Even though my ego would appreciate that, but I can't. But I say that because it's not accepted in our, be tough. Don't let them see you cry.
Man, tough's overrated.
Don't let them show, don't show when you hurt. Those things I carry with me even as a man. So when we started talking about my family, that led me into understanding like, hold on, I realized I was bringing in a large surplus of money.
Yeah.
But if I'm not smart enough, those expenses was also large. And understand.
And you're taking care of everybody.
Yes, sir.
Only in the black culture. Like, if you're white and you succeed, you just take care of you and your wife and maybe your kid or whatever. And maybe your wife is also working and doing well at 6 figures. But if you're black, you bring the entire community with you. Everybody expects you to take care of them. And all of a sudden you got 30 people, and the first thing we do is buy mama a house. That's right. That's probably one thing we definitely should do. Then we buy some cars, and everybody wants a loan. People who ain't never run a business want to start a business, you know, and they expect us to finance it. No. There's a lot of love in the word no. I love you. You need to go get a job.
Yeah.
I love you. You don't do the crime. You damn sure gonna do the time.
Right.
I love you. You gonna have these kids. You gotta take care of them.
Yes, sir.
I love you. My life, your life is not my responsibility.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hand up. I'm not gonna give you a handout. I am not gonna take care of you for the rest of your life. You're a grown-ass person. Yeah. No. Oh, no. And by the way, it's not healthy for them. Yeah. If you take care of somebody at $10,000 a month, they ain't never had $10,000 a year, and now you hooking them up at $10,000 a month, they've gone numb. They've gone limp. And then 3 years later, they have no idea what to do. Now they're used to this largesse, and you have done them a disservice because they didn't go to school, they didn't go to college, they didn't go to trade school, they didn't hustle. What are we doing? From the time we get up in the morning to the time we go to bed at night, you and I are on our grind.
Yes, sir.
They're not grinding because they're grinding against us. Yeah. So no. You ain't gotta go, but you gotta get the heck out of here. You have got to take care of yourself. You have got to become self-reliant. I don't mind hooking you up a little bit. I don't believe in loans, by the way, to family members, because it never gets paid back.
Yes.
And then that's a fight. I'll give you a little gift, and then go find somebody else to give you something else. For some reason, I don't get our drama in my family. People know, don't go to John with that. It's fascinating. It's just fascinating. I'm the financial literacy guy. I talk about money all the time. Right. My extended family don't come to me sideways. They don't come to me with some crazy stuff because they know I'm the wrong one. When somebody comes to me, it's thoughtful. John, I have this idea. Can I walk it? Can I get your advice? Yeah. They know how to come to me. But when you're a big heart like you, and they know that you're Superman, they're gonna play on it with the best of intentions. I'm not saying anybody is malicious here. People will take advantage of you as long as you allow them to. And then when you go broke, and this is not the broke guy we're talking about, he's the opposite of that. But when the athlete, in this example, goes broke, and we all know those examples, who's there for him? The people who are getting those checks, they disappear.
I want to give a quick caveat too, as you were talking. Everybody goes through it.
Everybody.
And I want to give this easy tactic to assemble or equip you with this. It doesn't matter if you're an entertainer, an athlete, or a person that just come into a lot of money, and a lot of people know it. Ask this question when it's asked to you. Hey, can I borrow some money? Right? Mm. You respond with this simple question. Is this a loan or is this a gift? You ask them that. Mm. That automatically puts the ball back in their court for them to acknowledge, if this is a gift, then I'm not expecting it to be paid back. Right. And understand with that gift, be respectful how much you asking for. Right. But if this is a loan, no different than Chase, no different than Bank of America, Wells Fargo, that loan has to be paid back.
I documented, brother.
So
it's a loan agreement.
Man, listen. So listen.
And look, it ain't me. It's my lawyer. My lawyer's over there.
Bro, I'm about to give free game. So to anybody who has money, you ask that simple question, is this a loan or is this a gift?
It's business.
If they reply back with this is a loan, I then tell you this, write it out, and I want you to sign the date of when it's going to get paid back.
I just gave a family member, again, I don't do it often, but a family member had a business. I gave them a loan. They needed a 30-day extension. I gave them that. And I want my money. And they signed a promissory note.
Yeah.
And we can still have fun. We can talk, whatever.
Bruh.
But this is business. Don't come to me because you were serious when you asked for the money.
Hello.
When you asked for the money, you were in a hurry. So don't be slow rolling me when it's time to pay me back.
Or don't use adjectives or root words like, man, you tripping on that little money. It wasn't little when I gave it to you. Come on now.
You wasn't little when you cashed it.
Hello.
Oh, no.
I don't give a damn what it is.
Oh, no, you ain't got to go. You get the hell out of here.
To the point of that clip, I think the thing that struck me the most was when you hear and you listen and you just, ain't nobody tell you to have all them damn kids in the first place. All them damn kids.
Just stay out your business.
But that's the point. That's the point. Yeah. I think for me, the less people really know about me, the better off I am. Yeah. There are certain things that I protect. Relationships is one of those things. Yeah. You may see what I want you to see, but you don't see what I really am doing.
Right.
It's almost like The Illusionist,
right.
David Copperfield. I want you to see this. I'm protecting this over here.
Yeah.
And there's times where I've gotten it right, and there's times that I got it wrong. Yeah. But one thing about money is I have to understand what I'm capable of doing, and I also have to identify what I'm not capable of doing. Mm-hmm. My biggest fear is to be able to look at my children and to look at my close loved ones and really look at the people who work alongside of me to say, I can't pay you.
Yeah.
That's a fear.
No, you didn't ask me my fear.
Which is what?
Going broke. I was homeless. My fear is I run out of cash. So I got more credit lines, more cash, I'm just paranoid, man. And I get up every day slightly paranoid, and I work my ass off every day.
But are you though?
Am I what?
Are you broke?
Oh, no, I'm not broke, and I'm certainly not poor.
But that's the thing for me.
Right.
I am not.
Right.
That fear drives me. Yeah. But those things you must understand is that's my fuel.
Yeah. You know what's really fascinating? There was a time where I couldn't afford $500. So $500 was a big, conversation. Then you get to a point where $5,000 is a big conversation. Then you get to a point where $5,000 is actually not a big conversation, and then $10,000 is a big conversation. And then you get to a point where $100,000, like I was at the Morehouse event, they honored me a couple of days ago, and spontaneously I committed $100,000 to them. That didn't move me. Now, 20 years ago, that'd give me a heart attack.
Yeah. Wait, what?
But yeah, so so you're at different stages of your life, but I still, it's interesting, as you become more successful, the bills get bigger.
Yeah.
Like, again, without getting too personal here, when you're living in a smaller house, nobody shows up, no vendor shows up with anything over $100 or $200. Somehow when you have a big gate and a lot of acres, everybody walks that front gate, it starts with 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, whatever the estimate is.
Set the precedence.
It's unbelievable. So your bills just get bigger as your life is getting bigger. And what you cannot do is have your low self-esteem and your ego make you feel like you have to say yes to a bunch of crazy stuff. Right. I say no to stuff all the time. Oh, no, I'm not paying that. Oh, no, we not doing that. Oh, no. If I can't pay it off, I put it on my Amex card, but if I can't pay it off in 30 days, I know, no, I'm not doing that. I buy things that have long-term value, like I buy Tumi luggage, and I buy Ferragamo shoes, because I don't want my feet to hurt. But these shoes will last.
They still hurt though. The bougie, the shoe for me. I'm speaking for myself.
No, my shoes don't hurt, brother.
Man, I got a pair of Vans on, man, and
you trying to look cute. I'm trying to make sure my feet.
I ain't trying to look cute. Those cost $400. These cost $400.
Yeah, well, I got insoles in my shoes, brother. I got flat feet, so I spend a lot of time making sure that my feet don't hurt. But my point is that I do invest money where I think it will pay a return on the investment.
Right.
Whether it's my luggage or whether it's trying to give another example other than Tumi luggage. I have certain things that they're my go-to brands. You
can look at it like an airline ticket. Like, it just doesn't matter.
I love Delta.
It's like, bro, you go to Delta because of the amenities that get with the money that is
that is spent.
Other than private, if you're not gonna fly private, fly Delta.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
But for those who don't, what about Emirates? But that's when you flying.
When I'm on Emirates, if you ever see me on Emirates, somebody else has bought the plane ticket.
But those things, it's just what, for those expectations for you, you go where your money is going to stretch the furthest with what your expectation is.
Can I say this one thing about wealth?
Talk to me.
About wealth expense. Again, this is profiling, and this is financial literacy. When you see one of our mainstream counterparts on a private jet, the company's paying for it. A company is paying for it. His company, somebody else's company, LLC, and it's being paid for in a way that he doesn't or she doesn't feel it. All too often when you see us in a private jet, we're actually using income to pay for that.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's nuts. We do it with limousines, we do it with private jets, that is the wrong way to flow. Like you gotta be more elegant and more sophisticated. I used to borrow money from banks. And then I learned about margin accounts, where you get a stock portfolio and you borrow from yourself at a fraction of the rate. Oh man, my whole life changed. I mean, this is all these tricks and all of these little cheat sheets, hacks on money that just never end. I mean, I'm learning, I learned something yesterday. I'm always, like you, I'm nosy.
Yeah.
I'm always learning, brother. And what I probably need to learn now is to shut up and leave your show.
No.
We've talked way too long. I hope you guys have enjoyed it.
My thing is, lastly, for your stamp of approval, to the person who sees this and have heard you up until this point, why should somebody listen to you?
You don't want to be broke. Look, if you hang around 9 broke people, you're gonna be the 10th. You listen, go and listen to Pookie and them. Go listen to JoJo, see how you do. You shouldn't buy a house. They don't own a house. You shouldn't own no stock. They don't own no stock. I mean, listen, consider your sources. Consider who's giving you advice and counsel, right? I can talk to you about the NFL because you are the top of the mark in the NFL. You were a gladiator at the top of the mark. No one's done what you've done it the way you've done it. So I can come to you and I'll listen to you. And I was on stage with my brother T.I. and Killer Mike a couple years ago at my Hope Global Forum. And T.I. was teasing. He was talking to me about money and why should I listen to you and all this kind of stuff. And I said, look, man, when I want to ask about hip hop music, I'm gonna come to you and Killer Mike. Bishop Jakes was in the audience. When I want to talk about faith, I'm gonna go to Bishop Jakes. When I want to talk about civil rights and social justice, I'm gonna go to Ambassador Andrew Young, How to Build a City. And I went down and Tony Ressler, a billionaire, was on the stage. When I talked about building real wealth, I'm gonna go to Tony Ressler. When I talk to you about money and how the least can go to the most, shut up and listen, I'm talking. I don't know a lot, I know this. This is my sweet spot. And you don't have to, I'm not some fake influencer who is selling books and tapes. Nothing wrong with selling books and tapes, by the way. There's a lot of people doing it very honorably, like my man Ash Cash and Earn Your Leisure. There's a lot of guys doing it legitimately, so God bless them. I'm a real entrepreneur. My payroll is, a couple $1 million every 2 weeks. I've got to make $300,000 a day to keep my operations going. I'm the largest in my category in 3 areas of business in the country. I'm easy to check out. I'm a real entrepreneur, I'm a real CEO, I'm a real businessman. I came from the bottom, and God willing, I'll continue to grow, but I've been able to get to somebody's definition of the top. I'm easy to check out. That's why you should listen to me. Not because I can talk well and rap through financial literacy, and all that's cool, but follow somebody who's actually done it. And then model that. And I can make anybody watching this a millionaire in 5 years. You go to Operation Hope, you get counseling and coaching, get your credit score up 54 points to 100 points, get your debt down $3,800, get your savings up $1,500. So Operation Hope does that on a regular basis. We're gonna get you the earned income tax credit if you make less than $60,000 a year. If you make $40,000 a year, you got 3 children, the government owes you $7,000, just thereabouts. If you never filed EITC, it's retroactive for 3 years. That's 20 grand in this example. That's enough money to put a down payment on a $100,000 house in an emerging neighborhood outside of central Atlanta, in one of the 7 counties.
Suburbs.
Right?
Suburb.
Buy that house, live in it, don't sell, right? Get you a term life insurance policy or whole, but term policy, $20 a month, you get a $100,000 policy if you're in decent health. You can get $1 million policy actually for about $100 a month if you're in decent health. There's your generational wealth. It's not if you're gonna die, it's when you're gonna die. I don't know how long you're gonna live, I know your ass is gonna die. So when you die and pass on, have a will, and that $1 million is now gone to your children or gone to your wife or whoever you like. But now you got a directional generational wealth. Use the equity from that house. After 3 years, pull the equity out, buy another house. Nothing fancy, something in the hood. Get some people who are hopefully look like you to be contractors, but not Pookie and them, not your cousin. Get a qualified contractor to rehab that house with a budget and a business plan. Hold them accountable to it. Rehab it and rent it. Do that 3 times, you're a millionaire, times 2. That's it. See, that wasn't complicated.
You just gave the whole blueprint.
If you work for an employer, they have a 401k account. That's free money. That's free game. They're matching you dollar for dollar. You should take every dollar that they're offering. If they put up $1, you put up $1. It's your money. You can get it back, but just maximize your 401k contributions. Stop doing GoFundMe campaigns to bury somebody. It's driving me nuts. If you work for a major employer, if you have an insurance policy, buried in that insurance policy is typically death benefits up to $25,000. I've got it at my company. So when somebody passes on, I'm able to send them $25,000 to bury them in dignity. Stop doing GoFundMe campaigns to bury somebody. Use GoFundMe to build a business or something. Like this is basic stuff. And let your 9 to 5 financial 5 to 9. Let your hustle during the day financial business is going to build you wealth. Everybody should have a side hustle.
On this show, we have a question of the day. Your question, Mr. John, is this. The question is designed to provoke thought, and it could be really pretty much anything that the viewer can really ask, and for them to even answer for themselves.
Okay.
We always talk about thriving in this type of economy. If you had a certain amount of money in your name, let's give it $5,000, right? Mm-hmm. What would you spend it on? Now, this also comes as a way to say, we always talk about getting on top, but we never speaking about how do we get ahead. Mm-hmm. If you have $5,000 to your name, what would you, or what should you?
Is this the 18-year-old me? Is this the me? Is this the working class me?
Let's give you, you're 27, okay. You're married, and whatever.
I would take $5,000 and I would take $1,000 and get AI certified. I get an AI, artificial intelligence certification. I'd spend the whole if I could spend the whole $5,000 and earn myself a 6-figure job in AI, then I'd take the whole $5,000. If I'm trying to upgrade my income, I do that. If my income was cool, then I might invest that entire $5,000 in the stock market, in basic fundamental stocks, because I believe that they will just continue to rise in the next couple of years. If I didn't need stocks and I didn't need income, I knew somebody one of my cousins or somebody I trusted outside of Georgia in a small town, I might spend $5,000 and invest with him or her to buy a house. So I put up $5,000, they put up $5,000 in a limited liability corporation, and then hopefully, for $100,000 with 10% cash down, you can buy a house. And I would do what I said earlier: buy it, rehab it, rent it, and sit on it.
I think so many times in financial literacy, we always talk about, like I was saying earlier, getting by, but we never talk about how we can get ahead.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what I'm all about that.
And that type of plan right there is something that we do, or that you should do. Now, last thing, as we call this.
And if you have 25% credit cards, you just pay off the credot card. So that's another thing, because that can kill you. Mm. If you bought a car on a secondary car lot, and it was a Mercedes and it said 18% interest, it's not a Mercedes, it's Mercedes payments. and that thing's going to implode on you and blow up, and it'll probably break down because they had designed it to only work for 2 years. So you bring it back to the lot. They probably gave you what's called their own B paper, their own paper. So they're getting paid 3 times. They sold it to you, they financed it,
and they're gonna
get it back on a repossession and redo it all over again. By the way, on a car lot, there are 3 businesses. There's sales, there's finance, and there's maintenance. Sales is the least profitable. Deep
Boy, ooh, 3 businesses on one lot.
Every car lot. But sales is all we obsess about is the sales part.
And that's crazy.
It's the least profitable.
When you see these car lots now, and I was about to get into the car selling car business, and you see the refinance or the used cars bigger than the actual new cars. That's the bigger business to some. And then obviously the maintenance. This particular segment, what we like to do, we just added, is the question for the crew. Obviously there's people behind the scenes that make the scenes, thrive.
Sure.
But
I'm sure I've underwhelmed them the entire time we've been sitting there.
As you was talking, this gives us any type of questions that could be asked or they will want to ask to you or even me. And this is our last thing. So I will ask the question, do we have any questions from the crew?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Janae.
Hey,
Nice to
Janae.
meet you. Thank you so much for coming. I am exploring entrepreneurship, and you state a lot that entrepreneurship is the path to financial freedom.
Yeah.
What is the number one mistake that you see first-time entrepreneurs make and how we can avoid them?
We confuse business with busyness. So we want to take a salary. We want a business card. We want an office. We want to lease a car. We think it's a look. We think it's a vibe. Going to a meeting with a briefcase, going to a lunch at the Four Seasons, all that's noise. It's all ridiculous. I have never paid myself a salary when I started a business. I don't want to finance anything that's not good debt, that's not paying me a dividend, like a line of credit for the business. So really, you're the product. And so you've got to really focus this in a very narrow way and decide, if you have an innovation that doesn't have a customer next to it, it's not a business. So you have this great innovation, this great thing that you're going to do, but we spend all our time on everything but securing a customer. Make this very simple. You want to secure a customer, get somebody to buy it. Take the revenue, reinvest it back in the business. Then go get another customer. Do the same thing. Don't pay yourself. Forget about yourself. And then one day you'll look up, like I did on my businesses, and it's like, wow, oh my God. I mean, when I did this Promise Homes Company business, I built it over 5 years. I didn't take a salary. And I looked up one day and it was worth $150 million from zero. But I was just grinding. And started with me and an idea. And so that's my suggestion to you is, I can look in your eyes and tell that you've got focus and you've got hustle, and you wouldn't be doing something unless you were serious about it. Ignore noise around you. Don't go out to the clubs everybody wants you to go hang out with, because that ain't getting you nothing. Most people around you cannot relate to what you're trying to do. As I said, eagles, buzzards, and turkeys. And eagles don't fly in packs. You're just gonna be alone. You're gonna be alone, no one's gonna understand you, and that's okay. Just very basic stuff. I call myself a hunter. My wife calls me a double alpha male. I'm a double alpha hunter. I get up every day, and when I get up, the devil says, oh shit, he's up. You want the world to just be, when you get up, they just step aside. So just keep it really simple and put sales on the board of whatever it is you're trying to do, and keep everything else very minor.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And by the way, we're happy to help you out with 1 Million Black Business Initiative. We'll give you
Would love it.
We'll give you a grant that's worth about $25,000 to get yourself a Shopify account, get you some payment systems and delivery systems and business plan, financing, coaching, and all that stuff through Operation Hope at no cost to you. Be happy to help you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any more questions from the crew?
I do.
Yo.
My name is Jean-Pierre Chapoteau.
Beautiful name.
Thank you very much.
French.
Yeah, I'm Haitian, but yes,
Haitian, same
print
thing.
derivative,
Well,
yes, absolutely.
Haiti, that's a whole other story. Without Haiti, there'd be no America, by the way. Little known fact. Absolute truth. Without Haiti, there'd be no America. The Louisiana Purchase. Go ahead, sorry.
I guess what I'm asking you is personal. Like, I want to do, like, I'm a creative, I'm a filmmaker and everything, but I also want to do like children's books. And I was wondering, how would you approach doing that? Like, if you don't have, like, I'm very creative. I know like stories and how to draw and illustrate and all of that, but I don't know the business side of it. I don't know if you've ever had any ventures in entertainment, but like, how would you approach starting a children's book like company and actually getting money from it? Because I heard some people start it and they don't get a lot of revenue, but I would wonder what your approach would be.
Yeah, the book business is miserable.
It's miserable.
But I wouldn't suggest you to do it traditionally. In other words, I would not tell you to go try to build wealth and make money on a book, right? What I would tell you to do is create a platform. If you're passionate about children's books, other people are. Create a platform through Apple Books, or there's all these self-publishing platforms. Create a platform. What's your name again? This beautiful name?
Jean-Pierre Chateau.
Jean-Pierre Publishing. All right, and it's a self-help. It's for self-publishers, and you're going to create a platform that allow other people to, in 10 easy steps, publish a book. And you're going to charge them a fee to walk them through that, to do that, and then on that fee, it's going to pay you. And then you're going to take a residual on each of their books, so when they sell books, you get a fee. And you can take the profits from that, and you're going to publish your book for free.
It's like the aggregator in the film community. Yeah, I get
No.
that.
It's about being a capitalist. Look. We were talking about this backstage, Cam and I, that his kids were not going to be the NFL star he was, but because of his name, they have access. So why can't you own the turf company?
Yeah.
Why can't you own the turf cleaning company? Why can't you own the people who make the VIP bracelets that gives you backstage access? Why can't you why can't you buy 3 cameras or 3 lenses and rent the lenses out to people who do podcasting? In other words, it's all around us, but no one pays any attention to it. Every time you go on a set, you have all of this. Now, Cam owns all this stuff, but most people, they rent it. The drapes, the lights, the carpet, the people rent the furniture. Go create one of those businesses and rent it out to people who don't have the capital, and you get passive income. You're making money and you're building wealth in your sleep. Remember what I said earlier?
Yes.
So you get income that comes in. So I'm gonna give you a really simple example of how black people can go from just earning income to building a little bit of wealth. So you have a barbershop, and the traditional thing is people call, hey, yo, this is Joe's barbershop. Oh, you wanna come in at 3 o'clock? Well, I'm doing some hair right now. Let me look at my book. No, I got somebody at 3 o'clock. Call me back. So I'm gonna get distracted, or you're gonna get distracted. You're not gonna call me back. It's 5 o'clock, the shop's closed. Lost business. I'm on a plane, I can't even call you. I'm flying into Detroit, I wanna get my hair done. But what I'm doing with Shopify, we give you an e-commerce site, we give you a scheduling app, and through automation, now at midnight, I could be on my computer with Wi-Fi on Delta and say, I'm looking for a barber in Detroit. Do an internet search, and your barbershop comes up. I go to your website. I want an appointment tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I've made my scheduling. Here's my credit card. If I cancel, you get paid. And by the way, where I'm on the site now, there's some hair oil. There's a wave cap. There's a brush. A kit. Oh, I order that. You sleep.
Right.
I've just given you a $300 order, and you did nothing for it. Right. You wake up tomorrow morning, there's 10 John Bryants that did that same thing. That's $3,000 when you're asleep. It's a different way of looking at.
It's this. I'm sorry to cut. It's the infrastructure.
That's it.
Like
the plumbing.
Once you set the infrastructure in a healthy way.
Set and repeat.
Rinse and repeat.
So what I'm trying to do with Black America is to create economic plumbing. We've never had it. We never had financial strategies, financial literacy, or economic plumbing. We've had everything else. We haven't had that. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to build. Economic plumbing for Black America.
Perfect.
So we can do for ourselves.
Copy that. And what's your company? You said you're like investing in entrepreneurs, or what would that?
That's 1 Million Black Business Initiative. So all of it's under Operation Hope. If people just want to go to Operation Hope, I've got 1,500 offices in 42 states.
How could they find you? Or like, what's the simplistic way to,
To reach me?
use this platform for Operation Hope?
So I've got 3 million followers on social, so they can find at John Hope Bryant wherever they get their social media. Make sure you follow me and Cam. But also, Operation Hope has social media handles. You can follow Operation Hope. That's my philanthropy. I've got a bunch of companies, but that is what most people know me about. And you can go to operationhope.org. You can call our 1-800 number. You can download the Hope in Hand app on your Android or your Apple phone and sign up to coaching and counseling. And I will do something today. Anybody watching this program that was inspired by what you saw, just tell them Cam sent you, and we'll give you a $1,000 coaching scholarship that was good for 1 year. So we'll help you work with you, get your credit score up, get your debt down, get your savings up, help you get your budget in place, worth $1,000 for a year. It's free for all the viewers.
So how many times that promo code CAM is used, what CAM get?
Cam got 3
We can
hours.
talk about that off.
Cam got 3 hours of my time.
You know what I'm saying?
So you see, I told you he's a capitalist.
Look, we all are. Next question.
So last question real quick. So if you're starting a business and you needed 5 people, your own starting 5 of people around you to make a successful business, you can tell me what they do or the personality or characteristics that they need to have.
Ooh, this is good.
What would it
That
be?
is a really good
This
one.
is great. This is a great one. No family. Now, do I mean that literally? No, I don't mean it literally. You may find that the person who has what I'm about to say, talents and skills, is your husband, your wife, your cousin. It might be that in your family is who you need. But I've always said you never make an emotional decision. Whenever you make an emotional decision, it's going to be a bad one. And all too often, we will, with our family, we'll put all the criteria aside, like, oh, you're my boy, or, I love you, and that's going to be wrong. So in every enterprise, this is a great question. You need 3 things. You need a hunter, a skinner, and a cook.
But you snap with that one, boy. But what?
You need a hunter, a skinner, and a cook.
Golly.
I'm the hunter. Can you guess? I wake up every day. I'm the hunter. The skinner is the analyst, the accountants, the controller, the arbitrators, the administrators, the infrastructure in the middle. The cook are the folks who deliver the product. Every business, every family, every enterprise, everything in life has to have a hunter, a skinner, and a cook. And I'm gonna give you a bonus one. Here's a financial literacy lesson for you in a relationship. You can have the person that makes the money who spends it. You can have the person who makes the money and manages it. You cannot have somebody who just spends the money. That's a bonus. So I want everybody to think about their relationships. You can make it and spend it, make it and manage it, but you can't just spend it. And there's people in relationships, their only role in that relationship is they spend money. That will end in disaster. If you're not gonna make it, you gotta at least manage it. This goes back to what I said about relationships. 2 + 2 has to equal 6, 8, or 10, or what are you doing? If you're not better together, what are you doing? When I say a giver and a giver is exotic, a giver and a taker is neurotic, and a taker is psychotic. So if somebody's making it and somebody's just spending it, that's a giver and a taker. I don't care how nice the person is, they're a taker.
Man, listen here. Mr. John Hope Bryant, your time here has been extremely valuable. And I'm pretty sure it will touch the masses just like it effectively impacted me. As we end things here at Funky Friday, right, I will give you order and instruction. We're gonna start with this camera, then we're gonna go to your camera, then we're gonna finish with that camera. I'm gonna do one as an example. We're gonna say 1 finger, right? 1 pinky, right? 1 thumb, and when I say all together, we're gonna say 1 love. When I say all together, we're gonna say 1 love.
Am I looking at a different camera than you're looking at?
We're gonna go in unison. We're gonna go to this camera with
Got
1
it.
finger.
All right.
And then we're going to go to
I
that
got
camera.
it.
I'm going to lead it.
All right, I'm following
And we'll
you.
go that one. And then when I say all together, we're going to say what? One love. When I say all together, we're going to say what?
One love.
One. There we go. He's here, y'all. Here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. One finger, one pinky, one thumb, all together.
One love.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, John Bryant.
Oh, yeah, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.